Chapter 956. In front of the screen, the faces that were illuminated by the fluorescent light were all staring intently. When they heard the words Xiangyi, some screamed, some cheered, and some sat up excitedly. Some even opened the windows and roared, "Sister E has won an award." In the live stream, the Spicy Tutu fans were already bawling their eyes out. Sister E is so outstanding. Our Zizi has worked hard. She deserves to be the most popular. The most popular female guest on a variety show. Our Xiangyi is a fake. Shi Sui's sisters also congratulated her. Wow, as expected of Sister E, that's great, that's great. What's going on? I'm more excited than Shi Sui when he won the award, ha. Congratulations, Sister E. You've won the most prestigious award in a variety show. You must continue to be flamboyant in the future. P.S. Remember to hold Shi Sui's hand while walking. He's not fit to be the only one. At the venue, the spotlights shone on Xiangyi's head. She had exquisite eyebrows and her white dress made her look gentle and comfortable. She was the kind of person who would shine in the crowd. Hearing that she had won an award, Xiangyi smiled, but she still looked neither servile nor overbearing. After hugging Shi Sui, who was beside her, Xiangyi lifted the hem of her dress and got up calmly. She walked towards the stage, and the ordinary ground seemed to have turned into a flowery path. Behind her, there was a warm round of applause. Amidst the commotion, she remained calm and composed. After going on stage, Xiangyi leaned forward, nodded in greeting, and shook hands with Ms. Mu. As she moved, her long black hair fell down and she casually tucked it behind her ear. The camera zoomed in on her, revealing her perfect side profile. Her aura was between that of a clean and pure girl and a devastatingly beautiful woman. Just her hair alone was enough to make countless people fall for her. Ah, Tutu will definitely be a beauty when she grows up. She's super pretty now too. But I also think she'll look even better in a few years. Ah, I almost forgot. Not only am I a foodie fan, but I'm also a fan of Pretty Sister's looks. With this face, I can finish 2 more bowls of rice. Madame Mu smiled and said, Miss Yang, thank you for letting more people understand the traditional culture of our country, such as gourmet food, sanxian, traditional Chinese medicine, farming, and so on. Your live streaming of goods has helped farmers in several counties to escape poverty by relying on agricultural products. You have also introduced Little Rabbit Farm's advanced farming technology. Not only did you treat the guests on the variety show with your medical skills, but you've also made an outstanding contribution to the epidemic in the Western continent. You're truly a medical sage. Also, you should sell our domestic products overseas so that people all over the world can understand, buy, and use our domestic products. You are truly bringing glory to our country. Miss Yang, congratulations again on winning the award today. I wish you all the best in the future. Everything you ask for comes true, everything you walk is smooth, all you meet are good people, all you see are happy events, all you hear are good news. The chief director of the dispatch room was stunned. This long paragraph was not written in the script. So, Madame Mu is really praising Xiangyi? You flatter me, Xiangyi said modestly. Thank you for your blessings and I wish you all the best. Madame Mu smiled. In the next second, Xiang Feng pounced on Xiangyi and hugged her while twirling around excitedly. Ah, our Tutu is the world's #1 fan. No rebuttal. Chapter 957. Xiangyi, *, everyone? Mr. Xiang, have you forgotten about your domineering CEO persona again? How can the presenter spin around in circles at an award ceremony? This is ridiculous. Xiang Feng spun around several times before letting Xiangyi land on the ground. He chuckled and asked, Little Xiangyi, how do you feel? Are you very happy? The girl's milky white face looked serious. I feel a little dizzy. Xiang Feng rubbed his nose resentfully. The venue burst into laughter. The atmosphere in the live stream was also very harmonious. Haha, Xiang Feng is a man who doesn't play by the rules. I went to check on some software. Xiang Feng is really a domineering CEO. Actually, Xiang Feng is just a little silly, but he really dotes on Sister E. He personally came to present the award to Sister E, and he's even happier than Sister E receiving the award herself. Who wouldn't want to share the joy with their family members when they receive the award? Fortunately, the host managed to control the situation in time. Sister E, do you have any words for your acceptance? Xiangyi blinked and answered obediently, Yes, I've prepared a lot. Haha, I hope Sister E doesn't forget her lines like Director Li did. The camera cut to Li Jianyu's face in time. He shrugged and revealed a helpless expression which made countless people laugh. But soon, Everyone's attention was attracted by the dazzling girl on the stage. She held the trophy in both hands, which were slender and soft. Thank you to the organizers, thank you to the judges, I'm very honored to receive this award. Thank you to all the viewers. It was your every click and comment that allowed Two Under One Roof to set countless records. This achievement and honor belong to all of us. Also, I want to thank Director Lee Jianyu. It was your invitation that gave me a job when I was about to lose my job. It was your creativity that made this variety show more lively. It was your tolerance that allowed me to do whatever I wanted on the show. It was also you who gave me the opportunity to film a show with Shi Sui. The girl looked in the direction of Shi Sui with a sweet smile in her eyes. Shi Sui told me a secret, and I also want to share a secret with everyone. I have a crush on someone. From being young and ignorant to finally growing up, from being embarrassed to bravely chasing after her. He said that I am his light, but to me, every time I see him, I feel like the world is illuminated. There was a difference of 7 years between us. You were alive, but I wasn't. I had been trying my best to run forward, trying to catch up to that time, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't catch up. Finally, one day, I suddenly understood that 7 years was 7 years and 7 years was only 7 years. We still have a future. Thank you. The moment he finished speaking, the scene became extremely quiet. However, in the live streaming room, the traffic had already reached its peak since the start of the broadcast. Knock. Countdown. Ah, what kind of celestial confession is this? KSW. Childhood sweethearts. They were secretly in love with each other. The double arrow of love. It's so untimely and sweet. Xiangyi nodded slightly in greeting. Just like when she went on stage, she was arrogant yet polite. She lifted the hem of her dress and gracefully stepped off the stage. She smiled and walked towards Shi Sui. Shi Sui got up and hugged the girl's slender waist. There were hundreds of people in the live streaming room and tens of millions of viewers. Shi Sui kissed his little bunny. Chapter 958. It was a short and gentle kiss, but it attracted countless screams. Wah, ah. Get married. I'll move the Civil Affairs Bureau here. The guests at the scene joked, and the netizens in the live stream went crazy. Friends, this is the kiss of the century. This is the kiss of the century. Wow, this is great. Shi Sui's sister E has won an award. Shi Sui, can you do it? Keep kissing her. You're not allowed to stop until you kiss her. Shi Sui smiled faintly and ignored the teasing around him. He looked down and tidied up Xiangyi's skirt while taking over the chubby Xiao Naofu. The kitten was so angry that its cheeks turned into pufferfish. Xiao Naofu kicked Shi Sui hard, trying to escape from his arms and into Xiangyi's arms. Shi Sui casually said, You're so chubby, Sister E will get tired carrying you. Xiao Naofu stopped struggling. It looked at Shi Sui in disbelief. Meow. What did you say? This hoo-hoo is not fat hoo-hoo. Shi Sui thought for a moment and changed his wording. What's wrong? Hugs can't satisfy our Xiao Naofu anymore? Does our Xiao Naofu want a kiss from her brother? Although all my kisses belong to Sister E, if our Xiao Naofu insists, I can reluctantly kiss you. Xiao Naofu was speechless. Woof woof woof. Even a dog wouldn't want a kiss from a dog like you. After the award ceremony, the crowd dispersed one after another. Xiangyi and the others were chased by the reporters, who stopped them from leaving. The reporters had endless questions, but fortunately Ruan Qing was there to deal with them with ease. She avoided the tricky questions with Tai Chi techniques, but at the same time she didn't leave the reporters with nothing to write about. Until someone asked a question that completely stumped Ruan Qing. Will Miss Ruan marry Director Lee? Her ears turned red and her red lips pursed. She didn't know what to say. Li Jinyu hugged her and said with a smile, Marriage is the most important thing arranged by the heavens. As soon as he opened his mouth, the reporters immediately asked, Director Lee, is there going to be a second season of Too Bad? That's right, that's right. A lot of viewers are looking forward to it. Are they already preparing for it? After all, Two Under One Roof is now a national variety show. Li Jinyu rubbed his chin and pondered for a while. Well, let nature take its course, let nature take its course. A reporter keenly caught the main point. If you don't deny it, does that mean you're admitting it? Li Jinyu, that depends on whether Shi Sui and Sister E are available. Everyone's eyes lit up as they focused their attention on Shi Sui and Xiangyi. Shuringdi, Sister E, will you be participating in the second season of Little Broken? Shi Sui, it's always the two of us. The audience will probably get tired of it. Xiangyi agreed. Yeah. The reporters? So there's going to be a second season? We'll definitely make the headlines tomorrow. No way. We definitely won't get tired of it. A reporter shouted excitedly. Realizing that he had lost his composure, he said awkwardly, I'm sorry, I'm a hardcore fan of Little Broken. I've been following it since the first live broadcast. Xiangyi and Shi Sui faced each other. Xiangyi asked with a smile, do you want to participate? Shi Sui chuckled. It's my honor. Xiangyi's smile was bright and full of vitality. She waved at everyone. Then, see you in the second season. At the same time, Two Under One Roof updated their Weibo account frowny face Two Under One Roof at everyone. Two Under One Roof is preparing for the second season. I'm meeting with Jun Xiang today. Red heart, end of text. The following text was free. Anwan's words. It started with a variety show and ended with a variety show winning an award. Wan feels that this ending is very satisfying. Of course, due to the limitations of my writing skills, there are still some foreshadowing that hasn't been explained, and I want to satisfy the various plots that everyone wants to see, such as Shi Sui and Xiangyi's married life, untimely movie, Xiao Naofu and Little Shiji, etc. So there will be extra chapters. 1 chapter was updated in the morning and 3 chapters were updated tonight, so it's still 4 chapters today. It's expected to be updated on the evening of January 27th. Good night, I'm begging you for monthly votes. Chapter 959. Cut. As director Mu Si shouted, the filming was paused. Mu Si was a talented Chinese director. His films had accumulated more than 10 billion yuan at the box office and he had fans all over the world. At this moment he had chosen to film his new film in Nanqing. In the middle of a seemingly endless bamboo forest, there was a small Taoist temple. The building was antique and contrasted with the bamboo forest behind it. It was quite artistic. Thank you for your hard work, everyone. Please take a 10-minute break before continuing. As soon as Mu Si finished speaking, the actors went back to take a break under the sun umbrella. The assistants went over with fans and drinks while the makeup artists went to touch up their makeup. Mu Si didn't even bother to watch the replay just now. He paced back and forth. She's not here yet? The assistant director was also Chinese and had a good relationship with him. He laughed and said, soon. Didn't you just talk to Sister E half an hour ago? She said she would be here soon. Speak of the devil. A low-key black business car stopped by the roadside. The door opened and a young man in a white exercise suit got out of the car. He carried a peachwood sword on his back and was Xu Xinglan, who treated his sword as his wife. Next was Shi Sui in sportswear. It was black, white and gray. He didn't look 27 years old at all. Instead he looked like a male college student. The girl who got out of the car behind him had a slim figure. She was slim but not too skinny. She was in a simple and youthful sportswear with a short-sleeved shirt and shorts. It was a matching outfit with Shi Sui's. She looked sweet and suave when she moved. Sister E. Director Mu Si walked up quickly, his face full of excitement. Xiangyi waved at him and smiled. Long time no see. You're finally here. I've been looking forward to seeing you here. The assistant director also came over and coughed lightly to remind Mu Si. Mu Si reacted and quickly corrected himself. I've been looking forward to seeing you here. Shi Sui smiled and didn't take it to heart. Xu Xinglan didn't have any objections either. His eyes were fixed on the prop rack not far away. Mu Si was an internationally renowned director. He had invested hundreds of millions in this new film. The costumes were not something ordinary movies could compare to. The props master had spent a lot of effort just to get the weapons on the shelf. There were antiques from private collectors, famous swords forged by contemporary Chinese masters, and even the heirloom of a martial arts family that had been passed down for hundreds of years. Xu Xinglan's reaction did not escape director Mu Si's eyes. Mu Si smiled. Do you want to go and take a look? Can I? Of course you can. Go and pick one that's handy. You'll need it for your next shoot. Xu Xinglan. The young boy's eyes lit up as he rushed towards the prop rack. Wife, I'm here. But sometimes having too many choices is also a kind of trouble. I want to use this too. Which was prettier, his wife or concubine? Everything was beautiful. He didn't want to make a choice. He just wanted everything. Looking at the young boy's lost expression, everyone couldn't help but laugh. Mu Si was pleased and said, That's great. He fits the role of the sword fanatic in the script perfectly. By the way, Sister E, do you know any set of sword skills? Can I show it to the martial arts instructor? This way I can better design your martial arts moves. Xiangyi fell into deep thought. Seeing that she didn't speak, Mu Si comforted her. It's okay. I know that you mainly focus on actual combat. It's normal that you don't know those kinds of performances. Xiangyi shook her head. No, I'm just thinking about which set to show. Musi? So not only do you know but you also know more than one set? Chapter 960. Musi tried to sound her out. We're going to take a photo shoot today. Why don't you do your hair and makeup and we can see how you look? Xiangyi was very cooperative. Okay. You and Shui can go to the makeup room first. I'll see you later. Although it was said that it would take a while, the makeup and hair of an actress was a long process. It took 3 hours for the makeup artist and stylist to dress up Xiangyi, but they still felt that it was not perfect enough. It took more than an hour just to put on the eye makeup. But the result was stunning enough. When Xiangyi reappeared in the bamboo forest, the previous shoot had just ended. The girl seemed to have a magical power, and everyone's attention was drawn to her. The girl was wearing a red and white striped dress, and her hair was tied up into 2 small buns. Her makeup was exquisite, especially her eye makeup. The makeup artist deliberately put in a lot of effort to delineate Xiangyi's doe eyes into a more youthful and round shape. A crimson flower was drawn between her eyebrows, and small sequins were pasted on the corners of her eyes. She looked like a beautiful girl who had walked out of a manga. Musi only took one look at her appearance and couldn't stop praising her. Oh, amazing. You're so beautiful, so beautiful. Shui was sitting beside him. The man had changed into a 3-piece British-style suit and put on a pair of retro gentlemanly glasses. As he turned his eyes, the thin golden chain of the glasses swayed in the air in a mesmerizing arc. Shui looked calm, but in fact, his Adam's apple was moving. At this time, Xiangyi was like a piece of white and sticky rice cake, wrapped in sweet red bean paste filling. It was a very delicious feeling. Musi said, "Pick a sword first." Xiangyi walked to the prop rack and glanced around. She seemed to have casually chosen the most ordinary long sword. The hilt of the sword was black and the blade looked gray. It seemed that the blade had not even been cut. It made one wonder if it could even cut a piece of tofu. A look of disdain flashed across the props artist's eyes. She was really a vase. How could someone who didn't even know how to pick a sword make a good movie? She looked delicate and weak and obviously didn't have much strength. She should have chosen a light and flashy sword, such as the gem-studded short sword. But she actually chose a sword that weighed as much as 5 kilograms. This was the heavy sword used by the Western Knight and Zhong Kai. Swords were meant to be light and graceful. If she were to hold a heavy sword, she probably wouldn't even be able to swing it, let alone film. The next second, the girl picked up the long sword easily and threw it casually. Oh, it feels good. The props artist? Did he remember wrongly? That was actually a plastic sword. Most girls would be able to pick up something that weighed 5 kilograms, but he had never seen someone throw it so easily. At the same time, the martial arts director to his disciples to be honest with himself. You're Xiangyi? The martial arts director looked to be in his early 50s. He was not tall and slightly plump, but he was very energetic. His eyes were as sharp as an eagle's. Nice to meet you. I'm He Chuxing. Xu Xinglan's eyes widened. Grandmaster He? He was an existence that everyone in the martial arts world worshipped. Xiangyi greeted him politely. Hello, Mr. He, don't talk nonsense. Let's see how good you are. Let me say this first. If you cry later, I won't show you any mercy. Let me see how good you are. Grandmaster, he said directly, I'll stand still and let you make 3 moves. Xiangyi, that's not necessary. Chapter 961. Grandmaster, he frowned and said, let's begin. Seeing that he was insistent, Xiangyi did not decline and changed to a wooden sword. Grandmaster, he scoffed. Little girl, you don't need to change to a wooden sword. It'll be difficult for you to hurt me. Xiangyi said gently, after all, swords have no eyes. Safety first. It's not just about our safety. It'll be bad if I accidentally hurt someone else. Grandmaster, he thought about it and felt that it made sense. His impression of Xiangyi immediately improved. This little girl was quite considerate and had a good temper. Xiangyi cupped her hands. Senior, sorry for the offense. Musi was speechless. Wait a minute. Grandmaster He, I asked you to design the moves, not to bully Sister E. Musi was on the verge of tears. Grandmaster He was a real martial artist. He could easily beat up 10 adult men. What if something happens to Xiangyi later? However, the 2 of them were already in a fighting stance. Musi's hair stood on end and he nudged Shui with his elbow. Why don't you try to persuade him? Let Sister E act coquettishly and give in. Grandmaster He won't make things difficult for her. Shui said calmly, I believe in her. Musi was going crazy. Aren't you afraid that Sister E will be bullied? How can there be a girlfriend like you? She knows her limits. Wuxia was speechless. Trembling, he started to roll up his sleeves, ready to save Xiangyi at any time. Grandmaster, he put his hands behind his back and closed his eyes. A gust of wind blew past, and his white beard and hair moved with the wind. He looked like a peerless master in a wuxia novel. Xiangyi held a sword in her left hand, which made the prop master roll his eyes again. Most people in China had a right-hand dominant hand which was stronger and more agile. However, Xiangyi had to use her left hand. Wasn't this adding insult to injury? This little vase was probably going to cry and beg for mercy soon. Xiangyi brandished her sword beautifully. Just as everyone was about to cry out, they saw the girl attack Grandmaster He at a speed that was difficult for humans to react to. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Although the speed was fast, this level of attack was definitely nothing to Grandmaster He. Swish, the wind whistled sharply. Before the crowd could see clearly, Grandmaster He actually took a step back. Instantly, Grandmaster He opened his eyes and looked at Xiangyi in surprise. Xiangyi stopped in time and asked innocently, "Shall we continue?" Grandmaster He's face was dark and gloomy. "Let's continue." With a loud voice, Grandmaster He drew a wooden sword from the side. Cries of surprise could be heard all around. Didn't Grandmaster He say that he would give Xiangyi 3 moves? How could he go back on his word? Could it be that he was getting old and forgetful? Or could it be that move just now made him realize that Xiangyi didn't need him to go easy on her? The latter was simply too inconceivable and no one dared to believe it. The next duel between the two could be said to be thrilling. There were no flashy moves, not even superfluous movements. The old man and the young girl were like soldiers on an ancient battlefield, fighting with their lives on the line. They fought with the simplest and most ruthless moves. 2 ordinary wooden swords, but it was even more shocking than a real sword and saber duel. It was so fast that the eyes of ordinary people couldn't catch it. Bang! After the 2 swords collided again, Xiangyi took a few steps back, but Grandmaster He stood firmly on the spot. The little vase had lost. It was as expected. Just as the props master had a gloating smile on his face, he saw the wooden sword in Grandmaster He's hand shatter. Chapter 962. The wooden sword broke? How much strength did that take? Before everyone could react, they heard Xiangyi say, "Senior, thank you for letting me win." Why does it feel weird when Xiangyi says thank you for letting me win? Isn't that what the winner would say? Yeah, she clearly took a few steps back, but Grandmaster He didn't even take a single step back. The sword broke probably because of the quality of the sword. I think Grandmaster He was letting her win. She's still too young and doesn't have any foresight. She really thinks she won. Her EQ is worrying. Many of the crew members were brought over directly from abroad by Wuxia. Recently, they had been so busy that they didn't have time to watch the live broadcast. Hence, they didn't know about Xiangyi's performance in Two Under One Roof, and thought that she was just a Chinese female celebrity who only had a pretty face. Something that no one had expected had happened. Grandmaster He sighed and said, "Young lady, I, He Chuxing, have never been convinced by anyone in my life, but today I'm really convinced by you. I'm sincerely convinced that I lost to you. You held back, didn't you?" In other words, he felt that Xiangyi didn't use her full strength and was holding back. Xiangyi smiled and didn't continue, giving Grandmaster He enough face. Grandmaster He understood and stopped pretending to be a senior. He cupped his hands towards Xiangyi, which was a return to Xiangyi for her previous bow. Haha, in the martial arts world, the one who has reached the top first. Little girl, don't call me senior anymore, just call me old He. Senior, that's not appropriate. Then, why don't you call me Grandpa He? Sigh, my son is disappointing, he hasn't given me a granddaughter yet. The Li family, the Xing family, and the Yu family next door, when his beautiful and soft little granddaughter called him Grandpa so sweetly, he was so envious that he almost had a disease. Xiangyi smiled and said, "Hello, Grandpa He." Grandmaster He changed his serious expression and said with a kind smile, Hey granddaughter, come, let's have a good chat. I think that move you used just now is very suitable for the movie. Then the actors in the same scene can use it. Do you think it's appropriate? Why don't you give me some more guidance?" No, I should be the one learning from you." The two of them chatted happily, gesticulating as they talked. It was very harmonious. Everyone else was dumbfounded. Not only did Grandmaster He admit defeat, but he also acknowledged a relative as well as a teacher. This was too illogical. The prop master was even more dumbfounded. At this time he still didn't know that the petite Asian girl in front of him had an innate passive skill. It's a 100% face-slapping halo. Don't court death, otherwise you'll be beaten. Wuxia was in a trance for a while. The way she looked at Shui had changed. Oh God, this man was not a gigolo, nor was he a weakling. He had a pair of eyes full of wisdom. Even if Mount Tai collapses in front of him, his expression will not change. Even if the elk rises to the left, his eyes will not blink. To see the truth of things through hidden corners, to see the essence of things through appearances. Mu Si gave Shui a thumbs up. She had unknowingly changed the way she addressed him. Brother, you are like this. Shui was confused. What did he do? Didn't he just admire Sister Yi's beauty for a while? Oh, after the filming was over, it was time to produce the limited edition Tutu Cutie series. Posters, billboards, stickers, pillows, postcards. He had to arrange for all of them. He also had to continue hiding his identity as the #1 spicy Tutu fan. Chapter 963. Xiangyi and Grandmaster He chatted for a long time, and as they chatted they even pulled Director Mu into a discussion. Miss Zhang's character has a light and agile style, but we can still use a few moves to show her strength. This way the audience will be even more shocked when they watch it in the theater. Mu Si only felt that her inspiration was endless. She had already thought of several ways to use the camera and edit the scene to create Miss Zhang's plot. However, the real effect would still have to be done with the choreography and the special effects after filming. Xiangyi and Grandmaster He gestured a few moves and suddenly thought of something. Like this? After the first wave of movement, we can use the sword to pick up the stones and smash them on the ground or trees. Haha, young lady, I'm afraid we'll have to use special effects to achieve that. In the next second, the seemingly weak and delicate girl picked up a stone with the tip of her sword and suddenly exerted force on her wrist. The stone smashed into the sea of bamboos with a bang. A bamboo as thick as a cup broke with the sound, and when it fell, it bent a few other bamboos. Is this okay? Mu Si. Grandmaster He. Other people added special effects in post-production, but Sister Yi did it manually. The staff at the side heard the commotion and looked over, and they were all stunned. Kung Fu, this is Chinese Kung Fu. Is this really a standard that humans can achieve? Oh my God, how can a sword pick up a stone? Is this really in accordance with Newtonian mechanics? Mu Si opened her mouth wide. Sister Yi, how did you do it? Xiangyi was puzzled. Is this very difficult? Actually, it doesn't require much strength. It's just a trick. If you use scientific theory to explain it, it's probably the lever theorem and the parabolic equation. Everyone? Is it okay to use science to explain metaphysics? Stop acting. We all know that you have inner strength. In an instant, all kinds of small groups formed at the scene. The rumors went from, Sister Yi has pure inner strength, to, did you know that Sister Yi has magical power, to, oh my God, that Asian girl has mysterious magic. It was a large-scale scene of rumor spreading. After Grandmaster He set the martial arts movements, Xiangyi and Xu Xinglan immediately went to train. Director Mu Si sat on her personal stool, holding the blunderbuss in her arms. She was in a daze. His feelings were very complicated. It could be summarized as, #Mom, everything written in Wuxia novels is real. What should I do? Sister Yi is so powerful that I can't even spend money on special effects. Am I worthy? Do I really deserve Sister Yi to shoot my movie? Wuwa the photographer's voice interrupted his thoughts. Director Mu, I finished taking Sister Yi's makeup photos. Aren't we supposed to wait until she and Xinglan are done with their training? The photographer chuckled and handed the camera over to Director Mu as if he was presenting a treasure. From the moment Sister Yi appeared, to her duel with Grandmaster He, to the moment when she picked up the stone and broke the bamboo, I recorded it all. Mu Si's eyes fell on the camera screen. His team was the best in the world and the photographer's skills were impeccable. He had captured Xiangyi's beauty completely. The two-dimensional girl in the bamboo forest, her figure and afterimages during the duel. The best shot was the moment when the girl picked up the stone with her sword. Strength and beauty, softness and toughness, were vividly displayed at this moment. It could be called art. Chapter 964. Mu Si's pupils dilated. Is there even a need to shoot this? It was many times better than those styled photos that were deliberately made to look concave. He even wanted to use her as a poster for the movie. Oh God, meeting her was the luckiest moment of my life, the photographer agreed. She does have her own unique beauty which is unique in this world. Mu Si nodded. The two of them praised Xiangyi to each other and felt that their relationship had deepened. As long as you like Sister Yi too, we'll be good friends for life. At 8 o'clock that night, the production team of Martial Arts updated several sets of styled photos on both domestic and foreign platforms. They were of Shui, Xiangyi, and Xu Xinglan. Xu Xinglan's photo was clean and refreshing. He was dressed in a white training suit with a black belt tied around his waist. The young man stood with a sword in his hand, his eyes clear. In the comments section, everyone praised him for being an adorable younger brother. In the film, Shi Sui played a noble who tracked down a mysterious martial arts organization in order to uncover the mysterious death of his younger brother. He was filming indoors. In the extravagant and luxurious room, the man was holding an autopsy book in his hand. His gold-rimmed glasses made him look like a refined scum. This photo had both the arrogance and gentlemanly aura of a noble, as well as the maturity of an adult man. The comments on social media sites were all crazy. "Ah, the child in my belly can call me daddy, hubby?" Shi Sui's eyes are really as deep as the ocean. One look at them and you'll be immersed in a story. I'm so surprised. I thought that director Mu wouldn't be able to find another male lead like George. After all, George is a real noble, but I didn't expect him to bring us such a surprise again. The one with the most shares and likes was Xiangyi's styled photo. The vast sea of bamboo stretched as far as the eye could see, and the scene was distant. The sword in the girl's hand left after images in the air as the tip of her sword lifted up a stone. Her body was full of explosive power, but her face was extremely exquisite. Her twin buns were exquisite and adorable, and her eyes were unbelievably beautiful, as if they were filled with water. This photo quickly gained countless fans. "Ah, Sister E is so adorable. Kawaii. She's like a beautiful girl from a manga. Is this really just a supporting role? Director Musi, add more scenes for me." Xiangyi's makeup photos received countless compliments, but it was inevitable that some people would criticize her. It was mainly about Xiangyi's acting. Can she act well? Since her debut, she hasn't been able to produce any decent works. Is she planning to let the foreign netizens glare at her? You've embarrassed yourself overseas. My bad habit of feeling embarrassed is acting up again. That's right, apart from variety shows, does she have any other representative works? The Xinsha TV series in which Xiangyi and Shi Sui had acted as guest stars started airing, as if it was meant to slap these people in the face. The plot of this drama was mainly about the male lead leveling up and getting into a relationship with the female lead. Shi Sui played the role of the white celestial hidden in the ring of the male lead. She didn't have many scenes, but the moment she appeared, the bullet screen exploded. There was no other reason, his looks were too good. He was dressed in a white robe with wide sleeves and cold eyes. He was the most handsome person in the entire drama. Xiangyi played the role of a little vixen. The director deliberately put their scenes in the first 2 episodes. Before the second episode was even aired, the number of views had already exceeded 100 million. Chapter 965. This was a sign that the drama was going to be a hit. Everyone in the Xinsha drama was so excited that they kept sending red packets to the group chat. The female lead was the only one who remained silent. Everyone knew in their hearts that she was probably upset. This drama was adapted from a web novel with the male lead, as the female lead had very few scenes. She only appeared for a few minutes in the first 2 episodes, which was even shorter than Xiangyi's. What made the female lead even angrier was that when she watched the drama, she found that everyone was praising Xiangyi for her appearance. "I'm here for Sister E. Time to check it out. The gentle Xiangyi of the world, the cute little vixen. Oh my god, this little vixen is so cute. Sharing half of her inner core with the male lead is so sweet, I can't take it anymore." It wasn't easy for her to appear in the plot, but there were very few comments on the screen, and the reviews were mediocre. Is this the female lead? She's so ugly. Her acting skills are so. Are there no other actresses in the entertainment industry who can stand out? How can she be the female lead with such looks? It's okay. It's mainly because Shi Sui and Sister E have raised the standard of this drama's attractiveness standards. The others seem mediocre. Ah. In the high-end apartment, the female lead screamed hysterically. She turned on her phone and realized that the director and the male lead had all sent her WeChat messages. "Xiaoyu, you'll have more scenes in the future." The first 2 episodes have more scenes with Shi Sui and Xiangyi, which was carefully considered. Their popularity will bring more attention to our drama. Don't worry, Shi Sui will be the only one who will have a few more scenes. Xiangyi won't have any at all. Yeah, don't be upset. The director and the others are doing this for our drama's sake. Besides, the popularity is so high now, which means that our drama may not only become popular, but also become a hit. When the time comes, our pay will also increase. Smile. Pan Yu gritted her teeth. What do you know? She would rather not have Xiangyi's popularity. She didn't want to be compared to them either. It was just a variety show, but it actually cleared Xiangyi's name. Last year she had acted in a movie with Xiangyi, and her acting skills had been unbearable. Pan Yu opened Weibo and habitually looked at the top of the hot search. The dazzling hashtag Xiangyi's makeup photo hashtag stung her eyes. She continued reading and saw that Get was ranked second. The male lead's entry was ranked fifth, but there was no mention of her at all. The hatred in Pan Yu's eyes deepened. She searched her phone for a long time and finally found a video. A cold smile appeared on her red lips as she sent the video to all the major gossip marketing accounts. Not only did she post it within the country, but she also posted it overseas. The next day, as soon as Xiangyi arrived on set, she noticed that all the crew members were looking at her strangely. The young girl frowned, somewhat puzzled. Mu Si greeted her. "Sister E, you can go and put on your makeup first." "All right." Xiangyi went to the makeup room. As usual, it took a long time for her to put on her makeup. She was about to take out her phone when Anan immediately took out a tablet and asked carefully, "Hey, do you want to watch a movie? Or watch a variety show?" Xiangyi stared at him for a few seconds. "What happened?" Anan retorted, "Nothing, nothing." "Then why aren't you with Mr. C? Haven't the two of you been inseparable recently?" Anan's ears turned slightly red. There's nothing between the two of us." While he was trying to explain himself, Xiangyi tapped on the screen of her phone. Chapter 966. After skimming through the video, Xiangyi roughly knew what had happened. Actually, it was quite simple. When she was being raped, she acted in an idol drama and had more than 20 NGs on set. Someone from the same crew had secretly recorded the video and it had now been uploaded on social media sites both at home and abroad. Now, many people were protesting to Mu Si and demanding that she be replaced immediately. Otherwise they would boycott the drama. Replace her. Immediately. With such acting skills, wouldn't she be a burden to the entire crew? I watched the Xinsha drama yesterday. Her acting skills are only at the level of a silly girl. Director Mu's movies have always been classy and realistic. Is her acting skills good enough? I will never accept Xiangyi acting in Director Mu's movie. If Director Mu insists on using her, I won't contribute a single cent to the box office when the movie is released. The Spicy Tutu fans, who had always been passive, also stepped forward to try and explain things for her. The Shui sisters, on the other hand, were in charge of communicating with the fans and scolding them whenever they saw an idiot. Seeing the fans being scolded for her, Xiangyi frowned. Seeing this, Anan pressed his hand against his forehead. "Oh no, they still found out. Sister E, it's nothing. Who would buy a dark history? When I was looking for a job, I submitted thousands of resumes. Once, I finally got into an interview and accidentally sat on the interviewer's chair. At that time I felt like dying," Anan persuaded. Xiangyi said, "It's nothing, they're just doing it because they like Director Mu's movies." From the perspective of those people, it was normal that they didn't trust her. She was lucky enough to be liked by some people, but that didn't mean that everyone in the world had to like her. However, she didn't care about those who didn't like her, but she didn't want those who liked her to be hurt because of her. The girl closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, she was back to her usual calm and composed self. However, Anan felt that there was something different about his dear girl. "Have you guys seen that NG video? So eye-catching. If she's so bad at acting, why does she have to act in a movie? She can just be an internet celebrity and make money." "Shu, keep your voice down, she's coming." Amidst the whispers from every corner, Xiangyi appeared. She didn't have many scenes in the movie, but the plot was very important. It could be said that she was a supporting role that pushed the whole movie forward. Today's scene was the first time she met the male lead played by Shui. The set was ready and the Taoist temple was crowded with extras. Everyone first checked their positions twice. After ensuring that there were no mistakes, Mu Si gave an order. Action. The lens approached from afar, pushing from the sea of bamboo to the entrance of the Taoist temple. The bodyguard, who was wearing white gloves and black sunglasses, opened the car door respectfully. Austin, who was played by Shui, got out of the car with a lazy look on his face. He was playing with a lighter in his hand. The flame danced on his fingertips, but it didn't hurt him at all. "Where's Miss Zhang?" "She's waiting for you." The camera followed the man's line of sight. It passed through the old but charming door and landed in the courtyard surrounded by incense. Under the lush 100-year-old ginkgo, the sunlight passed through the branches and leaves, sprinkling mottled light spots. The girl carrying the cello case suddenly turned her head and met Austin's eyes. The camera zoomed in and used a close-up to capture the changes in the girl's micro-expressions. Miss Zhang raised her eyebrows and stared at Austin with great interest. She sized him up from head to toe, and in the end she whistled lightly. "You're mine now." Begging for a monthly vote. Duck kiss kiss kiss. I'm going to make snail noodles. Good night. Chapter 967. Everyone at the scene held their breaths. They could only vaguely hear the faint sound of the machine running. Literary scenes were actually more difficult to act out than martial arts scenes. The scene between Austin and Miss Zhang seemed to be a scene where the girl approached Austin step by step, flirting without realizing it. However, there was a hidden meaning in their conversation. "Since Miss has no intention of cooperating, then forgive me for not accompanying you," the man's languid voice fell. The next second he took out a gun and aimed it at Miss Zhang. At the same time the girl drew her sword. The sharp blade reflected the snowy light and the tip of the sword was pressed against Austin's clear throat. The bodyguard at the side was on high alert. However, the two of them were at ease. Austin was even in the mood to joke. "Do you think your sword can be faster than my gun?" The girl squinted her eyes and smiled like a sly fox. "You can try." The stalemate lasted for 1 second, 2 seconds. Although everyone at the scene knew that the two of them were just using props and acting in a movie, they still couldn't help but feel nervous. The sense of immersion was too strong. Behind the camera, Wuxia stared at the two of them without blinking. Every frown and every smile. Every line and every micro-expression was just right. A little more would be too much and a little less would be too little. This was the feeling he wanted. Not far away, a supporting actor rang the bell. The two of them raised their eyebrows. "Let's form an alliance." "Alliance?" "Yes, but I feel I will be betrayed at any time." "Aren't you the same?" The two of them looked at each other and smiled. As if they had reached a tacit understanding, they stopped at the same time. "Cut." Wuxia stood up excitedly. "Austin, Miss Zhang, come over here for a moment." After filming officially started, Wuxia would be deeply immersed in the plot and would often forget the actors' real names. He would call them by their names in the movie. Shui and Xiangyi put away their props and walked towards him. The crew instantly broke out in cold sweat. They felt that Shui acted very well. As for Xiangyi, well, there was nothing wrong with it. Unexpectedly, her acting wasn't as bad as that video where she had more than 10 NGs. On the contrary, it was quite lively. However, director Wuxia was known for his high standards. Would he think that Xiangyi's performance did not meet his expectations? Although Wuxia usually had a good temper, she had a sharp tongue when it came to scolding people. There was once a 2-meter-tall burly male actor who was scolded by him on the spot until tears and snot ran down his face. He cried and shouted to call his mother. However, it was beyond everyone's expectations. When Wuxia caught Xiangyi, she began to praise her. "Wonderful. Too wonderful. Miss Zhang, your performance just now was simply an act that reached the depths of one's soul." In the beginning, Austin and Miss Zhang didn't trust each other, but they also wanted to use each other. The changes in micro-expressions are completely in line with the character's psychology and background. "Miss Zhang, have you studied micro-expressions before?" In contrast to Wuxia's agitation, Xiangyi appeared very calm. "Yes, I know a little about it." It was nothing more than, the more worlds he transmigrated to, the more strange skills he mastered. Perhaps misfortune was also another kind of fortune. She didn't expect that the skills that she thought were useless would come in handy now. Wuxia's eyes lit up. "There are two kinds of actors I like the most. One is those who are talented, and the other is those who use their brains to act. I think you have both. Are you confident about winning the Best Supporting Actress Oscar this year?" Chapter 968. Everyone was dumbfounded. "Wait, she's only done one scene and you think she can win an Oscar already? That's the most prestigious acting award in the world." Xiangyi smiled and said calmly, "Let nature take its course, it will happen naturally." Wuxia gave her a thumbs up and said, "Okay, keep it that way." The cameraman interjected, "Director, do we need to shoot a second scene? Do we still need to reshoot this?" Wuxia answered his own question. "Oh, this is the effect I want." Everyone was speechless. In fact, 1/3 of the filming for martial arts had already been completed. Unfortunately, the previous male lead had gone back to inherit the family fortune and become the king, so they had no choice but to reshoot it. However, the crew knew Wuxia's temper very well. He was a perfectionist who pursued perfection and would not allow even the slightest flaw. He had even filmed dozens of scenes over the course of several days. It was also because of his seriousness that the quality of each of his productions was commendable and the box office sales were also guaranteed. They didn't expect him to approve of two actors so much, passing the scene in one take. In the past, they wouldn't even have dared to think about it. Although there was a confidentiality agreement, There were too many people at the scene and it was inevitable that someone would leak some information. As soon as the scene was completed, a gossip post appeared on the Melon forum. Title: Rumor has it that director Wuxia praised Xiangyi for being able to win an Oscar, shocking my entire family. Content: My best friend's classmate's friend is an extra in martial arts. Today he got lucky and acted as a pilgrim in a Taoist temple. He even filmed it with Shui and Xiangyi. He said that Xiangyi's acting skills were superb and director Mu praised her to the skies. He even said that she could win an Oscar. Shocking my entire family. Melon friends, what do you think of Xiangyi's acting skills? There were all sorts of replies below. Brag, brag, brag. Whitewashing posts are here so soon. How long are they going to market her silly and sweet acting skills? Rumor has it, Xiangyi's acting skills in that Wuxia drama were actually very delicate. Being silly and sweet is just a character design, but her acting skills are really good. Yes, I also want to say, where are you going to find a pure, lustful, sweet and pretty girl like Xiangyi? You guys should at least find someone who can fight like her. A gossip marketing account uploaded the post to Weibo and even attached a screenshot of Xiangyi's dozens of failed takes. In comparison, the contrast was too strong. How could she win an Oscar with such eyesore acting skills? Sorry for insulting the Oscars, right? Right at this moment, Martial Arts posted a short video clip. It was the scene of Xiangyi and Xu Xinglan's duel in the drama. Although it wasn't a full-length film, the video was still well edited. It was only 30 seconds, but whether it was the level of the camera or the smoothness of the martial arts moves, everything was smooth and the rhythm was tight. With the accompaniment of the music, it immediately felt like a blockbuster. As soon as the video was released, the netizens who had just mocked Xiangyi's naive and sweet acting skills began to question her. Are these two people not using stand-ins? Holy sh*t, Xiangyi didn't even use any pressure, but she just stepped on a tree and somersaulted? Oh no, now the foreigners will definitely think that everyone in China knows Kung Fu? Oh my god! The martial arts moves in this set of scenes were superb. It was as if we had returned to the most glorious era of martial arts films. It was filmed with both Chinese characteristics and cinematic artistry. I bet 50 cents that Xiangyi will become a god in this movie. Chapter 969. Pan Yu didn't even watch the Wuxia drama that she was starring in. Instead, she kept scrolling through the gossip about Xiangyi. When she saw that Xiangyi was being mocked by netizens, the corners of her mouth curled up. However, when she saw the video posted on the official Weibo account of the movie Martial Arts, her heart collapsed again. Why? Why can Xiangyi always slap others in the face so easily? Does she really know how to cast witchcraft? Pan Yu refused to believe it. She created a smurf account and said sarcastically, so what if she's good at acting? At most, she'll become a martial arts star. Real acting skills are not about fighting. Soon, a large group of netizens started criticizing her. If you're so good, why don't you do it? Count for yourself how many martial arts stars there are in the highest-grossing movies in the world. I'm dying of laughter. She's playing a character with super strong martial arts skills. If she doesn't fight, is she going to cry and defeat her opponent with her tears? She's not the female lead in the Wuxia drama that has been broadcast recently. She's useless except for crying. Pan Yu was about to vomit blood. Not only did she fail to humiliate Xiangyi, she even got humiliated by her acting skills. She gritted her teeth and said, Pan Yu's acting skills are way better than Xiangyi's. Then, Pan Yu realized that she had been slapped in the face again. Because it was always done in one take, almost half of Xiangyi's scenes had been filmed in 2 days. Director Wuxia was so satisfied with her performance that he couldn't help but edit it himself. He cut out a beautiful video and posted it. He had never liked to reveal the content of a movie before it was released. But this time was different. He wanted the whole world to know how good Xiangyi's acting skills were. The genius director's casual editing was amazing. After the video was posted, the netizens who heard the news and rushed over curiously clicked on it. The total duration was very short, only 1 minute. However, in this short 1 minute, Wuxia had edited Xiangyi's literary scenes, martial arts scenes, and crying scenes. Xiangyi's acting skills were smart and cunning. Whether she was acting with Shui or the other supporting actors, she was able to keep up with the acting. Needless to say, Xiangyi's martial arts skills were as light as the wind and snow. Occasionally, she would explode with power, causing people to tremble in fear. Xiangyi's crying scene took up the most time and was also the most exciting. In the film, the girl was half kneeling on the ground. Her expression went from blank to sober. Her hands were trembling. She wanted to pick up the sword, but she couldn't lift the blood-stained sword. The girl raised her eyes and looked at the camera. Her deer-like eyes were watery and the corners of her eyes were red. There was hatred, unwillingness, and sadness. The people in front of the screen were subconsciously brought into a sad mood. Did someone betray her? Why did he have to upset such a beautiful little sister? Patter. A teardrop slid down her porcelain cheeks. Her hand, however, firmly grasped her own sword. Even if he were to face a powerful enemy, he would not be afraid. Never retreat. Throughout the entire process, other than the background music, the girl did not speak a single line, nor did she make a single sound. She relied entirely on her micro-expressions and body movements to interpret. Swish, the screen was pitch black. Only the sound of her heartbeat continued. A few seconds later, the electrocardiogram stopped abruptly with a beep sound. Countless people in front of the screen woke up from a dream. Only then did they realize that their faces were covered in tears. Thus, Panyu found that her alternate account had been tagged tens of thousands of times. The comment with the highest number of likes was frowny face, come on grandson, watch your grandaunt's crying scene. Panyu was speechless. Chapter 970. Panyu was caught off guard by how quickly she had been slapped in the face. No way. What kind of probability is this? Is there a 100% chance of getting slapped in the face? Panyu resisted the urge to vomit blood and scrolled through the comments one by one. She thought that she was good at being sarcastic, but compared to the netizens she was weak. Putting Panyu and Sister E together is really insulting to Sister E. No matter what, Sister E is still very popular. What kind of person is Panyu? She's not even worthy of being trampled on. I'm dying of laughter. What works does Panyu have? Isn't it just that Xinxia drama that was recently aired? She cried more than 10 times in a few episodes, but even that can't beat Sister Yi's crying scene. Panyu rolled her eyes and fainted from anger. A week later, Xiangyi had finished filming all her scenes, and Mu Si held a wrapping ceremony for her and Xu Xinglan. After a week of filming, the entire crew was convinced of Xiangyi's acting skills. She was good at martial arts, crying and fighting, and most importantly she could cook. From time to time she would feed everyone pudding and braised duck neck. Before leaving she even gave the crew a bunch of specialties from Little Rabbit Farm. It was no exaggeration to say that the entire crew really sent her off with tears in their eyes. As for whether it was tears in their eyes or at the corners of their mouths, no one knew. Xiangyi returned to her homebody life. Her daily routine was to grow flowers and vegetables, make all kinds of delicious cat food for Xiao Naofu, and occasionally make some lunch for Shi Sui. On this day she carried Xiao Naofu and came to deliver food to Shi Sui. The crew had been filming for several days in a row, and everyone was a little dispirited. Shi Sui was in good condition and still had the energy to bully Xiao Naofu. I'm not as cute as Xiao Naofu and I can't be by Sister Yi's side every day like Xiao Naofu. But Xiao Naofu, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but what should I do? Sister Yi loves me. Why don't I give Xiao Naofu a kiss and make Xiao Naofu love me twice as much, okay? Come, Mua. Xiao Naofu's hair stood on end as it turned into a dog. Woof 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 woof. Motherf asterisk cur. Damn green tea. Bastard. Xiangyi shook her head helplessly and complained in a low voice. This man and cat, they think about each other when they don't see each other, but when they see each other, they start to fight. I really can't do anything about them. Director Mu Si is enjoying the homemade soy milk tea she brought. Huh. Is there no room for 2 dogs on the same mountain? Xiangyi coughed. Shua, Shi Sui and Xiao Naofu simultaneously cast their gazes at Mu Si, their eyes full of murderous intent. Mu Si immediately changed the topic. Sister E, this milk tea is really dog. Bah, this milk tea is really delicious. Sorry, I grew up overseas so my Chinese is not good. Xiangyi held back her laughter. If you like it, I'll ask someone to send you another bucket. Mu Si. My Sister E, I am my Sister E. Other people talk about milk tea in cups, but my Sister E talks about milk tea in buckets. By the way, there's actually something I need your help with. Mu Si cleared her throat. In my movie there are too few emotional scenes. The whole movie feels too tough, so I might lose some viewers who like romantic elements. So I want to ask you to come back to the crew and reshoot a few emotional scenes between you and Shi Sui. Just that the scale might be a little too big. The girl pretended to be calm. How big? Chapter 971. Holding hands, hugging, kissing, and, forget about that. Sister E, you're still a baby. If the fans of the untimely couple had heard this, they would have screamed. I see. Xiang Yi's ears were so red that they were about to bleed, but she still looked calm and composed. Then I'll do it. Really? Mu Si didn't expect that she would agree. He was pleasantly surprised. I have a script here. You can read it first. He took out 2 newly printed scripts, which were rushed out overnight by the scriptwriter. Wuxia handed Xiangyi a relatively pure script. Xiangyi sipped her milk tea and browsed through it. When she saw the words bathroom kiss, underwater kiss, and life and death kiss, Xiangyi choked on her milk tea and felt dizzy. This, isn't there too much kissing scene? The girl closed the script and was too embarrassed to read it. Although she had traveled through many worlds, she had never been in a relationship, let alone doing such intimate things. Wuxia waved the other script in his hand and teased, "You're shy? Then you won't be able to resist this one." He smirked. "Do you want to read it?" The scriptwriter is a fan of both of you. There are a few love scenes in this script, which are both emotional and beautiful. Xiangyi braced herself. Just this one. Sure Sui. Does he agree? He said that he respects all your opinions. I'm fine with anything. The girl's voice was soft, and there was a hint of embarrassment in it. Shall we start shooting tonight? The atmosphere will be better at night. Okay. With Xiangyi's consent, Wuxia immediately sent people to set up the scene. At the same time, he gave Shui half a day off and asked him to take Xiangyi on a date. Love scenes. If there's no love, then there's only acting. I don't like actors who act for the sake of acting, Wuxia said. So, half an hour later. In a cinema. Xiangyi and Shui were in disguise, but they were not overly exaggerated. They had arranged for hats and sunglasses. Instead, they wore masks and wore casual clothes. Along the way, although there were passers-by who looked at them, they did not expose their identities. Xiangyi breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the best disguise was not to hide, but to be ordinary. Little did she know that at this time, there was already a live broadcast post on the Melon Forum. Title? I saw Shui and Sister E on a date. It's so sweet that my heart is exploding. Content: these 2 little fools only wore masks. Passers-by couldn't recognize them, but loyal fans could recognize them just by looking at their figures and silhouettes. The 2 of them were holding hands the whole time. It was so sweet. Second comment: they even bought popcorn. 14th comment: oh my god, the 2 of them are catching dolls. Sister E caught a bunny bag for Shui, and Shui really carried it on her back. 291 comment: huh? What happened? I just finished typing and there are so many comments? Is my post going to go viral? Countless onlookers rushed over, waiting for the original poster to share the news about Shui and Xiangyi. In front of the claw machine, Xiangyi caught a lot of bunnies. In the end, the boss couldn't stand it anymore. He came over and locked the claw machine. With a dark face he said, "This one is broken. It can't be used." The girl tilted her head. "The internal circuit should be very simple. If you don't mind, I can help you fix it?" The boss was expressionless. "Thank you, but I mind." Xiangyi. YC. Chapter 972. The boss put his hands behind his back and walked towards the reclining chair. Shui chuckled beside him. Seeing that she wasn't satisfied, he walked up and caught up with the boss. The 2 of them talked about something and the boss quickly came back. Not only did he unlock the machine, but he also put in a few other cute bags. Cough, I remembered wrongly. This isn't the one that's broken. Please continue. Xiangyi blinked. After the boss left, she whispered to Shui, "What did you say to him?" Shui smiled teasingly. "I said that if my girlfriend isn't satisfied, she might come here secretly at night and tear down all the claw machines. Also, I bought this claw machine along the way. Am I that kind of person?" The girl smiled. "At most, I'll tear down half of it." Shui ruffled her soft hair. "Let's continue. I want that carrot bun." "Okay, I'll get it for you." The 2 of them returned with a full load after a long time. Xiangyi tied the strings of the plush bag together and hung it around Shui's neck. The contrast between the tall and straight man and the cute cartoon bag was quite cute. Shui said helplessly, "Fortunately, I put on a disguise. Otherwise, my fans would definitely stop being my fan." Unsurprisingly, this scene was also recorded in the post by the original poster. 555th comment. I'm dying. Sister E is too cute. I announced that I'm now Zai's mommy fan. 598th comment. Oh my god, Shui is so doting. I heard his conversation with the claw machine boss. He bought the claw machine for Zai. Mother is very satisfied with this son-in-law. 732nd comment. Ha ha, I'm laughing my head off. Shui thinks that he hasn't been discovered and is worried that his fans will stop following him. I want to tell him that he's overthinking. He has been discovered long ago. Suddenly, the post was filled with laughter and everyone was extremely happy with the candies. It was time for the movie ticket inspection. Shi Sui and Xiangyi entered the venue. Their seats were connected, but there was an armrest with drinks in between. Cough, don't you think the drink is a little cold? Xiangyi whispered. Shi Sui said warmly, shall I go out and buy you a hot drink? There's no need to go through so much trouble. Blushing, the girl silently raised the armrest and held Shi Sui's hand with her cool little hand. Her milk-white and delicate little face was serious. I'll warm you up. Shi Sui was stunned for a moment, but then she reacted and held Xiangyi's hand. Yes. Before he could finish his sentence, a short, ah, came from the back. Xiangyi looked back and saw a girl covering her mouth with her hand. There was a satisfied smile on her face. When she met Xiangyi's eyes, she was obviously excited and subconsciously wanted to call out Xiangyi's name. However, Xiangyi raised her milk-white finger and made a shushing gesture. Her eyebrows curved into the shape of a crescent moon and she winked at her. The girl nodded hard to show that she understood. Xiangyi turned around. The girl took out her phone and typed so fast that there was almost an afterimage. 1033rd comment. Oh my god, what kind of luck do I have? I'm sitting right behind Shi Sui and Zai Zai. 1099th comment. Zai Zai smiled at me. She looks so beautiful with a mask on. Her eyes are really amazing. 1314th comment. I'm dead, I'm dead. Shi Sui seems to be a little sleepy. Zai Zai hugged him and put him on her shoulder. She even coaxed him to sleep softly. Shi Sui, you don't deserve it. Give me back my daughter. Chapter 973. All of a sudden, all the fans of Shi Sui's mother and sister were in tears. Woolly Zai Zai is so obedient. Shi Sui doesn't deserve it. You guys aren't the only ones who don't deserve it. I Shi Sui don't think he deserves it either. Haha, I never thought that Shi Sui would be criticized so badly by his own fans after so many years of debut. Shi Sui originally wanted to tease the girl, but he didn't expect to fall asleep and actually fell asleep on Xiangyi's shoulder. He didn't sleep well, but when he was with Xiangyi, he seemed to be able to fall asleep all the time. Perhaps that was trust. When he woke up, the movie had just ended. Shi Sui whispered, sorry? What's there to be sorry about? You can catch up on your sleep while I watch the movie. Then I can talk about the plot. Both of us have profited. Shi Sui couldn't help but laugh as he listened to the girl gently talk about the plot. The two of them held hands and never let go. Before leaving, Xiangyi waved at the girl in the back row. The girl also waved at her excitedly until Xiangyi disappeared from her sight. She updated the last comment in the post. Post number 5213. The galaxy is boiling hot. Why don't we have a bowl of spicy hot pot? Two people under the same roof. The best love, Shi Sui Xiangyi. Red heart. This post received countless likes, and many years later, it was still in the favorites of some netizens. As long as they read the content of the post, they would smile. That was their youth back then. Facts had proven that geniuses were indeed geniuses. Mu Si's decision to ask Shi Sui and Xiangyi to go on a date was undoubtedly the right one. Ordinary people couldn't tell, but as the director, he could clearly sense the changes in their eyes through the camera. It was like honey melting in the sun, giving off a warm sweetness. Let me talk about the scene for you two. Mu Si called the two of them over and began to talk about the scene. His Chinese was not good, so Shi Sui and Xiangyi had good English listening skills so they could listen to him speak in English without any pressure. In conclusion, the scene that the two of them were about to shoot could be said to be the most erotic scene in the entire film. In the movie, Miss Zhang joined Austin's camp and helped him investigate his brother's death. At the same time, she was also looking for the sword manual called Martial Arts. Today's scene was set at a cocktail party. The two of them were communicating in secret, but unfortunately they were discovered by the villain. In order to confuse the villains, the two could only pretend to be a couple. At this time in the bathroom, the lights were dimmed and the room was filled with mist. The pitter-patter of water did not stop. The snow-white bathtub was filled with red rose petals, and fluffy white bubbles almost overflowed from the bathtub. Outside the door, the villain's conversation could be heard. Find them now. In a moment of desperation, Miss Zhang had no choice but to push Austin into the bathtub. The man's clean and neat retro suit was instantly soaked. She wanted to slip away through the small window, but a pair of warm hands unexpectedly appeared on her waist. In the girl's astonished eyes, the hand holding her suddenly exerted force and pulled her into the bathtub. Bang! Water splashed everywhere. Miss Zhang raised her small face. There was uneasiness in her eyes, but also complicated feelings. The man raised his hand and wiped away the bubbles on her cheeks. His slightly calloused hand moved from her dimples to her lips, gently rubbing. His movements were deliberately slow, more than ambiguous but not excessive. There's someone inside. The moment the villain was about to break in, Austin spread the girl's long hair in his arms and lowered his voice. You are now mine. Chapter 974. Boom. The door was kicked open and the villains with loaded guns appeared. What they saw was the scene of the man throwing away his glasses and kissing the girl's slender white neck. Everyone. Wuxia shouted the sound card and looked at the playback. She frowned and called out the names of a few supporting actors. Your positioning is wrong. Do it again. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment before she suddenly realized. If they did it again, wouldn't they have to kiss her again? Oh, the previous scenes had been so smooth. There shouldn't be any NGs this time. Then, for the first time in history, Xiangyi slapped herself in the face. This scene was shot over and over again, and there were all kinds of accidents every time. Some people forgot their lines, some laughed, and some broke the door too early. Xiangyi and Shui also kissed again and again for the sake of art. After more than 10 takes, Wuxia reluctantly said that this scene was over. Staff, I have a reasonable suspicion that Director Mu is a fan of the untimely CP. So many people on the internet are calling for head massages every day, but Director Mu is different. Can't he just do it on the spot? To avoid awkwardness, the staff all left. Only Xiangyi, Shui, and her manager, Anan, were left. Xiangyi was wearing clothes under her costume to prevent her from exposing herself, but Anan still took out a pink planet bath towel and wrapped her up tightly. Oh my, you're suffering too much. The bathtub water wasn't at a constant temperature. Later on, the water would turn cold, but she had to fall in again and again. Every time she had to be in her best condition. It was really a great test. Recalling the scenes just now, Xiangyi felt her whole body burning up. It's okay. It felt like she was in love at public expense. Anan had a bath towel in his hand. He was about to pass it to Shui when he heard the man say calmly, You guys go out first. I'm going to take a shower. Oh, Shurindi, I'll put the bath towel on the shelf. Anan led Xiangyi out. The two of them didn't think much about it at all and even started to casually gossip. That Shinsha drama started at a high point and ended at a low point. The first 2 episodes with Yu and Shurindi have already exceeded 500 million views. But when it reached the 3rd episode, it started to cramp. There were only tens of millions of views left, and the later episodes were even worse. I see. Anyway, I was scolded badly, especially by the female lead. Her acting is terrible. Also, she was complaining about you to her best friend and accidentally sent it to the group chat. It was exposed again, and the audience that she worked so hard to get is all gone now. Their voices became more and more distant. Shui took off his soaked jacket and shirt and turned on the cold shower. Water droplets dripped down along his high brow bone. Closing his eyes, it took him a long time to calm down his restless emotions. He was a man, not a saint. After taking a bath, Shui wiped her hair with a towel. She sensed the fluctuation in the air and narrowed her eyes, saying in a deep voice, Come out. A crack seemed to have been torn open in the air. The first thing that came out were 2 furry airplane ears. Little White Tiger poked its head out and said obsequiously, Lord, Fu is here to visit you. Shui said coldly, What's the matter? I've sensed the whereabouts of that annoying rabbit spirit. Little White Tiger looked like it was asking for credit. Lord, what a coincidence. She's also reincarnated in this world. Do you want me to help you locate her? After a few seconds of silence, Shui said coldly, No need. Rabbit spirit, fox spirit, cat spirit. No one could compare to his little tutu. Chapter 975. The man's tone was cold and Little White Tiger immediately dared not speak. All of a sudden, its ears twitched and its expression changed drastically. Lord, I have something urgent to attend to, so I'll leave first. Call me if you need anything. Shui expressed assent and crossed her arms, watching as Little White Tiger dug in the air with its chubby paws, creating a hole. Xiao Naofu's figure could be vaguely seen at the other end of the hole. The white and soft kitten tried its best to tiptoe and open the snack cabinet, but it couldn't open it no matter how hard it tried. It was extremely aggrieved. Atrocious. This hoo-hoo can't open this cupboard? Sob sob sob. Little White Tiger flashed through the hole and hooked its tail in the air, after which the snack cabinet automatically opened. Meow. Xiao Naofu blinked, seemingly in disbelief of such a surprise. Little White Tiger's arrogant and cool voice came from the air. Hey, what else do you want to eat? The hole in the air became smaller and smaller, and Shui couldn't see what happened behind it. However, the man raised his eyebrows and suddenly felt sorry for little Shiji, who was still working hard to earn points in the transmigration world. She wondered if the fur on its head had an additional blue and yellow hue. The reshoots lasted for several days. Xiangyi originally thought that the kiss in the bathroom was hard enough, but she didn't expect the following scenes to be even harder. The two of them almost always passed 1 or 2 scenes, but the kissing scene always required at least 10 takes. Wuxia even personally pressed their heads together and taught them how to kiss step by step. Little Bunny was so shy that she would smoke every time. As for a certain best actor, he also took plenty of cold showers. A few days later, the two of them filmed the last emotional scene. The scriptwriter added this scene to the dark moment before the climax of the film. In commercial films, the protagonists would often suffer repeated setbacks and lose everything, such as their loved ones or lovers. In addition to the intense tears, it was also to pave the way for the climax later on. In the film, Austin suddenly lost all clues and even vaguely realized that his brother's death actually had something to do with him. In other words, it was very likely that he was the one who caused his brother's death. At this moment, the big villain boss noticed Austin's intentions and personally came to kill Austin and Miss Zhang. The two of them fell into a desperate situation. At the critical moment of life and death, the two of them briefly kissed. After that, Miss Zhang pulled out her sword, which happened to be the scene that Xiangyi had filmed earlier. On one hand, he knew that he might have indirectly caused his younger brother's death. On the other hand, he knew that Miss Zhang had allied with him because of the sword manual. He knew that this woman was very dangerous and could not be trusted completely, but he could not help but be attracted to her. Therefore, his emotions were very complicated. There was pain, suspicion, and love. But in the last moment he realized that everything was because of his incompetence. He wanted revenge, he wanted to use his own method to defeat the villain. Wuxia explained the script in detail. The three of them discussed for a while before they started shooting. The wind howled. There's a train of thought in front of us. We can't escape. The girl was still wearing her beautiful red dress, but her dress was stained with different shades of blood. There's a way, there must be a way. The man, who had always been conceited and arrogant, said in a low and hoarse voice. I don't think I had the chance to tell you my name. Chapter 976. Swoosh, the girl's voice stopped abruptly as she stared warily at the villain outside the secret room. The footsteps were getting closer and closer, echoing in the quiet room. They were getting closer. They were getting closer and closer. It was only a matter of time before they were discovered. But there was another secret room in this secret room. The girl made a decision almost instantly. She turned her head and looked at the young and handsome man in front of her with a sly smile in her eyes. Then let's treat it as a secret between us forever. Austin wanted to say something, but the world in front of him was spinning. He stared at the sedative in the girl's hand in disbelief and then collapsed to the ground. Miss Zhang placed him in a small secret room and stared at him for a while before smiling and kissing him on the lips. I'm leaving. The moment the girl turned her face away, a teardrop fell. At the same time, a teardrop fell from the corner of Austin's eye. Cut. After Wuxia shouted cut, the crew on set was still immersed in the sad atmosphere and couldn't extricate themselves. There was no emotional background music, no memory replays, and no editing done through post-production methods. However, the two of them relied on their acting skills to make the audience feel the sadness of parting with death. Not only the crew but Wuxia's eyes also turned red. He blew his nose with a tissue as he watched the replays. Xiangyi calmed down. She had always been quick to get into character and get out of character. She would feel sad when she was acting, but she would be fine after getting out of character. As for Shui beside her, he got into character and got out of character even faster than her. The two of them were simply the evildoers in the hearts of everyone in the crew. Xiangyi was still worrying about whether to retake the scene when she heard a loud cry. Everyone looked over and saw that Wuxia couldn't control his emotions at all and was bawling his eyes out. His cries affected many people, and those who were easily moved to tears also started crying. Xiangyi? Shui? The two of them looked at each other. I want to drink milk tea, strawberry tofu milk? Less ice and 30% sweetness. Hot. It's so hot that it's soulless. Let's go to ice, let's go to ice. The people around them, you two are heartless. Wuxia only regained her composure after Shui gave her some hot milk tea. You acted so well. You guys really brought these two characters to life. I feel like I'm not a director but a witness. Wuxia blew her nose and said seriously, Mr. Shui, Miss Xiangyi, it's an honor to work with you. Then he chuckled and said, when the movie is released I will crazily edit both of your doujinshi videos. I have two men who have the most kissing scenes in the world. Ah. Xiangyi was a little embarrassed and pretended to look at the props next to her. Shui said calmly, Don't forget to make a copy for me. Xiangyi? I heard that the two of you will be working together in the future. I'm really looking forward to it. When the time comes, I'll be able to be a mixed editor. Mu Si's eyes were filled with yearning. Hence, in the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Shi Sui had officially finished filming and Martial Arts had entered the post-production stage. It was expected to be released in cinemas in China and overseas at the same time in February, which was the Chinese New Year. On the other hand, Xiangyi and Shi Sui had joined the set of another movie. Night is Coming. This time the director was an old acquaintance, director Yan Zhenhua. As soon as Shi Sui and Xiangyi appeared, director Yan couldn't wait to get up and welcome them. Sister Yi, have you brought Yayao? Chapter 977. All the staff members who had watched Two Under One Roof couldn't help but burst into laughter. Director Yan, so many days have passed and you're still thinking about it? Xiangyi smiled and pressed a button on the car key, after which the trunk automatically rose, revealing the vacuum-packed chicken, duck, goose, pig, rabbit, fish and shrimp inside. There was an uproar at the scene. Is she here to act or to give us warmth? Oh my God, Sister Yi. She's so cute. Tears flowed down the corners of countless people's mouths. Director Yan swallowed his saliva and said, after the opening ceremony, we must have a good meal. The opening ceremony of martial arts was not that particular overseas, but the local film and television industry still attached great importance to it. Today's opening ceremony would be attended by all the major media outlets. Considering the film and the exposure of Xiangyi and Shi Sui, after some communication, the opening ceremony was chosen to be held in the form of a livestream. When the official Weibo account announced the news, the entire internet was cheering. Ah, it's been 3 months. 3 months. We can finally see our little brat. Previously, when they were in small pieces, they were already engaged in 2 months. Now it's been 3 months. Shi Sui, why haven't you married Sister Yi yet? Are you impotent? I heard that director Yan's son Yan Nai will also participate in the filming of this movie. There's also a newcomer named Rong Huai. I remember that he appeared in small pieces. Haha, I'm looking forward to the scene of the two younger brothers surrounding Sister Yi while Shi Sui sulks. It was past 9 o'clock in the morning. Director Yan had calculated the auspicious time and signaled the staff to begin the livestream. When the livestream was opened, a large wave of netizens flooded in, almost causing the servers of the livestream platform to collapse. In the technical department of Xingqian TV, the programmers looked weary. Ah, this familiar server fluctuation. Previously, when a certain celebrity's fans claimed to be a top celebrity, they were all on high alert. However, after a long time, the server didn't even crash. However, the server was already on the verge of collapse after only 1 or 2 minutes of the livestream today. This is a true combination of two top celebrities. Director Yan announced loudly, "Thank you everyone for attending the opening ceremony of Black Duck, Night is Coming. Here I officially announce that the opening ceremony of Black Duck, Night is Coming, has officially begun." The audience had a hard time trying to hold back their laughter, but the viewers in the live stream did not have so many scruples. The screen was full of haha. I'm not laughing. I faked it. Director Yan, do you want to eat duck? Sister Yi's ducks must have been fattened up. Oh my God, look at the tributes. Other than fruits and pig heads, there's really Little Rabbit Farm's spicy braised duck. Isn't it Black Duck? After everyone offered incense, it was the media's turn to ask questions. After the reporters asked Director Yan a few questions about the movie, they immediately aimed their cameras at Shi Sui and Xiangyi. Do you two have any plans to get married? How will you balance your career and family in the future? Although the two of you aren't married yet, your fans are urging you to have a second child. Do you have anything to say about this? Xiangyi replied seriously, "These are spoilers, I can't tell you." The more serious she was, the more everyone wanted to laugh. This series of questions was instantly resolved. However, there were still some reporters who refused to give up. We're not asking about the movie's plot, we're asking about your private lives. Xiangyi retorted, "Since it's my private life, why should I tell you? If I don't, I won't." Chapter 978. The reporter? The corners of his mouth twitched. He never expected Xiangyi to be so difficult to deal with. Little did he know that although Xiangyi was gentle, she had been pampered since she was a child. If she liked someone, she would dote on them to the heavens. If she hated someone, she wouldn't even spare them a glance. In the live stream, "Oh my God, Sister Yi is so tough." That's right, it's her private life. If she wants to talk about it, she can. If she doesn't want to, why force her to? But she's a public figure. She has the obligation to entertain the public. If it weren't for her relationship, who would pay attention to her? You guys don't think she really has fans, do you? Oh wow, there's an idiot in front. Someone's coming. Someone's finally coming. Everyone, let's report her. Unwilling to give up, the reporter went to ask Shui again. Shui, you and Sister E are 7 years apart. Sometimes, don't you feel that there's a generation gap? After all, you're so mature. He deliberately paused, implying that Xiangyi was too childish. Shui smiled and said with a kind gaze, there's a poem that goes, the drizzling rain returns to dream of a distant chicken, the wind blows through the jade building. Later, it was made fun of by Feng Yanxi's greeting the Golden Gate, as, blowing on a pool of spring water. You don't need me to say the rest, do you? The reporter was stunned. Why is Shui reciting a poem? How would he know what the next line of the poem was? At the scene, Director Yen had a strong literary foundation and instantly understood. He laughed on the spot and even cooperated with her. No way, right? Don't tell me there's really someone who doesn't know what the next line is? Most people didn't know, but in order to appear less ignorant, they all cooperated with Director Yen and laughed. The reporter. In the live stream, all the representatives of the Chinese class went online. I know this question. Blowing on a pool of spring water, the next line is, what's the matter? Translated from the original text, it means it's none of your business. Shuringdi's memory is amazing. Ha, Director Yen is a god-level assistant, right? And Shui is so protective of his wife. When others mock Sister E, he immediately mocked them back. Who wouldn't love a man like him? Embarrassed, the reporter left with his tail between his legs. After he left, the atmosphere became much more harmonious. Everyone also realized that Xiangyi had a good temper. As long as someone asked her about the movie, she would answer. Moreover, she had her own ideas about the script. A female reporter asked, as we all know, this movie is based on a famous novel. Everyone in the novel is evil, and only Sister Yi's role as a female doctor is a positive character. However, this character has always been hated by fans of the novel. Sister E, are you worried that the netizens will scold you for being a White Lotus saint after the movie is released? Xiangyi, if there's evil, there's good. The boundary between good and evil isn't that clear. The novel chose to exaggerate for the sake of artistic expression, and the movie will continue to use this style. I think the role of the doctor is meaningful. She is not only the male lead's redemption, but also the only bright color in the original novel. She neutralizes the depressing atmosphere created by the novel. The female reporter hesitated for a moment, but still chose to tell the truth. Today, a large number of fans of the novel are boycotting you for playing the role of the female doctor. The author has yet to respond. Director Yen laughed in time. Okay, next question. At this moment, the female reporter's phone rang. She said, well, the author seems to have replied. Chapter 979. The original author seems to have replied. Everyone turned to look at her in unison. The viewers in the live stream also got nervous. Does the original author hate Sister E? Does he not want Sister E to play this role? The female reporter avoided the camera and glanced at her phone. Relieved, she smiled and said, Teacher Li's evaluation of you is like this. At this moment, some impatient netizens had already found the original author, Li Zijuan's Weibo. They clicked on it and found that he had posted a long post a minute ago. Li Zijuan v. I'm very lucky because the book, Dark Knight is Coming, has received a lot of love from many readers, but it has also gained some fame in the entertainment industry. It has been nearly 5 years since the book was completed, and every time I think of the characters in the book, I feel very conflicted. In the book, I wanted to express the complexity and multifaceted nature of human nature. Even the absolute evildoers would have a conscience, such as the love of a priest for a doctor. Even the kindest people would have evil thoughts lurking in the depths of their hearts, such as the dream of the doctor. It was the same for the other supporting roles. Due to my personal standards and energy, I did not participate in the creation of the movie version of the script, but the screenwriter had called me many times and talked to me face to face. He put in a lot of effort into this script. I have also read the finished script, and there were several adaptations that had great effects. In short, if it were me, I would never be able to write such a script. Laughing emoji. I look forward to the director, actors, and crew bringing everyone a more perfect version of Dark Knight is Coming. Also, I think it's very inappropriate to raise the issue of the role to the actors themselves. Of course, more importantly, I'm actually a huge fan of Xiangyi. Ahem, do you think that middle-aged men don't chase after idols? You're very wrong, I've watched the entire season of Two Under One Roof. Doghead. P.S. Director Yen, if you change the title of my book to The Black Duck is Coming Again, I'll eat all the ducks that Sister E gave you. In the past, Li Zijuan's Weibo post would only receive a few hundred likes, but today the number of likes exceeded 10,000. At the scene, the female reporter roughly summarized Li Zijuan's Weibo post and the media present had an idea. Doesn't Ms. Li mean to openly side with Xiang Yi? The female reporter tried her best to hold back her laughter. Our Sister E is really popular. Even Teacher Li claims to be your big fan. Xiang Yi smiled. What a coincidence. I'm also a fan of Teacher Li's books. I've read all of his books. Director Yin finished the conversation in time. I will definitely work hard and live up to the efforts of Teacher Li and the scriptwriter. All the major media outlets sent their blessings, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. On the other hand, the netizens in the live stream were paying much more attention. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that in addition to Big Sister fans, Mommy fans, Milk Powder fans, Grandpa fans. Sister Yi's popularity is amazing. There are very few artists in the entertainment industry who can win over all age groups. She really has a bright future. It's over, all I can think about now is Black Duck, Black Duck. Is there anyone who orders X Black Duck's neck, wings and collarbone with me? The person in front, I'm crying. There's no X Black Duck near my house, there's only X flavor and X age. Hence, in addition to hashtag response from the original author of The Night is Coming hashtag, there was also hashtag increase in sales of ducknecks hashtag. The netizens exclaimed, X Black Duck has become the biggest winner? Chapter 980. All departments take note, action. In the blink of an eye, it had been half a month since Xiang Yi joined the crew. Mu Si's acting style was that of an artist. When she was inspired, the entire crew had to be prepared to work 24/7. When she was down, the efficiency of the entire crew would also be affected. On the other hand, Yen Zhenhua was different. He was trained in acting and had been working steadily all these years. He had a strong foundation in acting, directing and acting. The filming of Dark Knight is Coming also adhered to his usual style and followed the routine step by step. Shi Sui's performance gave him a huge surprise. In the past, Shi Sui was talented in acting and had his own style. However, his acting style was like that of a literary film. Although it was advanced, it was not down to earth. Now his acting was on another level. As for Xiang Yi, it was even more out of Director Yan's expectations. Director Yen was selfish towards Xiang Yi and felt that as long as the young lady acted well, it would be good enough. How could a person be perfect? Her culinary skills, medical skills, art, martial arts and so on were already so good. It was understandable that her acting skills were mediocre. Then he was slapped in the face by Xiang Yi. It was no exaggeration to say that regardless of whether Xiang Yi took on Shi Sui's roles or those of the veteran actors, she could handle them with ease. In a group of scenes, the young lady's performance would not steal the limelight, but it would not be insignificant either. For the first time, Director Yen felt that someone had perfectly interpreted the word moderate. She was impartial, moderate, and did not make any mistakes. Everything was just right. Today's scene was the scene of the female doctor giving psychological treatment to the rebellious young man and the depressed young man. The rebellious young man was played by Rong Huai, while the depressed young man was played by Yen Nai. Before the two of them joined the set, they had both taken acting classes and their performances were remarkable. However, Director Yen was also worried about something. Both of them were too weak when it came to acting. When acting with veteran actors, it was very easy for them to be suppressed and subconsciously let out of character. In other words, the two of them could not take on the role of the big shots at all. However, Director Yen was very surprised by today's scene. These two rookies were actually brought into the show by Xiang Yi. There were many actors who could bring people into their roles. How could they bring two newcomers into their roles so quickly? He had really found a treasure this time. Today's chat ends here. The female doctor closed the medical records. She did not use the word treatment, but chat, which made the two teenagers visibly more relaxed. However, when you go back, you have to take your medicine obediently or else. The two boys stared at her warily. Stretch out your hand. If you don't listen to me, you will. The two of them immediately stretched out their hands, their bodies trembling slightly as they used their body language to express their fear. This mental hospital had always treated its patients with punitive measures. In the next second, the gentle female doctor took out 2 milk candies from the pocket of her white coat and placed them in the palms of the two youths. Then there's no candy to eat. See you next time. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys share your fun things with me. After the female doctor left, the depressed young man whispered, "She's like an angel." The rebellious youth sneered, "Boring?" Although he sounded arrogant, his actions were very honest. He immediately snatched the candy from the depressed young man's hand. This scene was not in the script, and it was purely Rong Huai's own performance. However, director Yen felt that the impromptu scene was not bad and did not stop him. Little did he know that after this movie was broadcast, his son and Rong Huai had many fans who thought they were a couple. Chapter 981. The two teenagers got into a fight over a piece of candy, which was accompanied by opera-style music. It was full of dark humor. Rong Huai and Yen Nai also became popular actors because of this movie. Of course, this was a story for another time. On the set. After Xiangyi appeared on screen, she sat on a small stool with a smile and watched Rong Huai and Yen Nai act together. She felt like an old mother taking care of her children. When director Yen shouted "cut," Xiangyi served the two of them a bowl of hot tonic soup. "Drink more to replenish your energy. There's still a night scene tonight." Yen Nai's ears turned red shyly. "Thank you, sister. You're good." Rong Huai stuck one hand in his pocket and pretended to be cold and aloof while ignoring Xiangyi. As soon as Xiangyi left, he immediately snatched Yen Nai's bowl of soup and gulped it down. Yen Nai jumped up and down. "That's my soup. Sister gave it to me." Rong Huai said arrogantly, "I've already drunk it. Should I spit it out for you?" Yen Nai was speechless. He gritted his teeth and said, "This is the bowl I drank from. Can you be more hygienic?" Rong Huai wiped his mouth with the back of his hand and said, "So what? We're all men. Don't tell me you mind that too?" Yen Nai was speechless. The teenager's ears turned even redder. On the other side, Xiangyi pushed open the door of the dressing room to see that Shi Sui was resting behind closed doors. Due to the needs of the role, Shi Sui had grown some stubble and had also lost a few kilograms. He was completely skinny. It would be a lie to say that her heart did not ache for him. As soon as Xiangyi approached, the man suddenly opened his eyes and said, "I heard that you scooped soup for Yen Nai and Rong Huai? Sister makeup artist, you're too nosy?" Xiangyi felt helpless and amused at the same time. "There, they only have a bowl, but you have a bucket," Shi Sui sighed softly and casually said, "Other children already have someone to serve them soup. When will I be able to have one? Don't give me that." Xiangyi scolded him. She opened the heavy thermos and scooped a bowl of tonic soup for Shi Sui. "Sure, a little rascal, Sui. Sigh, the other children all have someone to feed them. I don't know when I will." All right. Have some soup." The girl scooped up a spoonful of soup and fed it to Shi Sui. "Ah, open your mouth." Shi Sui took a sip of the soup and picked up the phone on the table. The screen showed that they were in the middle of a video call. Shi Sui had muted the phone so he couldn't hear Xiang Feng's voice on the other end. However, Xiang Feng could hear his conversation with Xiangyi clearly. In the image, Xiang Feng was so angry that he was pounding on a pillow, looking rather incompetent and furious. Shi Sui increased the volume of his phone and smiled. "Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." Xiang Feng clenched his fists. "UF** king dog of a man." Xiangyi shook her head. Men were indeed kindergartners until death. The girl waved her hand and greeted her little uncle. "Little uncle, have you eaten?" Xiang Feng imitated Shi Sui. "Woo, if Shi Sui can have a bowl of soup, when can I have it?" Shi Sui, ? Xiangyi, ? Was her little uncle gradually melting? However, other people's fake cries were all sobs, but her little uncle's cries were like the wailing of ghosts and howling of wolves. Xiangyi hesitated and said, "Little uncle, why don't you hang up?" Xiang Feng, "Huh. Oh, your snot bubbles are coming out of your nose." Xiang Feng. Chapter 982. More than 10 seconds later. After wiping his nose clean, Xiang Feng crossed his legs and placed one hand on the armrest of the sofa, thinking that he was a cold and domineering Xiu. He cleared his throat and said, "Tudu, go home after filming. I'll take your aunt home for dinner." Xiangyi's first reaction was, "Little Shiji is back?" That name successfully reminded Xiang Feng of his dark past. Marrying little Shiji, ah. He exclaimed, "It's not little Shiji. It's a very beautiful girl." Ha. Xiangyi was astonished. "Uncle, you actually found a girlfriend?" Xiang Feng was dumbfounded. "Wait a minute, what kind of image do I have in my little niece's heart? I'm also a handsome man who loves life. Isn't it normal to have a girlfriend?" "Congratulations, uncle," Xiangyi said smilingly. "What does little auntie like to eat?" "I'll talk to grandpa and grandma. Since it's her first time here, we must treat her well." Well, I'll get a private detective to investigate later. Oh. After ending the video call, Xiangyi suddenly felt that something was amiss. Which boyfriend would hire a private detective to investigate his girlfriend? However, Shui seemed to have thought of something and chuckled before saying a name. After all the twists and turns, it's still Sister Song. Xiangyi lamented. At this moment, a staff member knocked on the door. Shui said, "Come in." The staff member pushed the door open and reminded, "Miss Shi, it's almost time for your scenes." Shui pinched Xiangyi's little face and said, "Wait for me at the hotel, okay?" Xiangyi said, "Okay boyfriend, all the best." Shui smiled and got up to go to the set. The staff member turned to the side and pressed down on his cap. Shui brushed past him and suddenly stopped in her tracks, feeling that there was something strange about this person. She squinted her long and narrow eyes dangerously. "Ahem, Miss Shi, it's almost time." Shui stared at him without blinking. The staff member broke out in a cold sweat and didn't dare to look at him. 1 second. 2 seconds. After a long time, Shui finally left. The staff member heaved a sigh of relief and took off his hat, revealing a fierce and sinister face. He walked into the dressing room and saw Xiangyi cleaning up the tableware. The little girl was gentle and meticulous in everything she did. She even sorted the garbage patiently. "You're the one who stole our Qianbao's female lead role?" The man's voice was low and angry. Xiangyi raised her head, her clear doe eyes calm and indifferent. The man saw that she was not surprised at his appearance. He sneered and said, "It seems that you already knew that you would have this day. If you don't do anything wrong, how can your shoes not be wet?" Xiangyi couldn't help but correct him, "You seem to have used it wrongly. The next sentence is I'm not afraid of ghosts knocking on my door, and the previous sentence is I'm always walking by the river." The man was obviously choked and said angrily, "What are you showing off for? Didn't you just study for a few more years? Our Qianbao was poor and didn't have the money to go to school. She didn't want to sleep with the unspoken rules, so you stole the female lead role. Let me tell you, I'm here today to take revenge for our Qianbao. Now have a taste of what real fear is." The man smiled sinisterly and went to lock the door. Xiangyi reminded him, "Are you sure you want to lock the door? Do you know fear now?" With a click, the door was locked. Chapter 983. Xiangyi replied, "I think you'd better open the door." The man replied, "Do you think I'll give you a chance to escape? Let me tell you, I'm prepared to go to jail today. For my Qianbao, I don't want anything else." She was his goddess, whom he could only dream of. For her, he gave up his job as a mechanic and switched to being a stunt double. All the money he earned was hard-earned money. All the money he earned was spent on Qianbao. For her, he bought her gifts, he picked her up from the airport. Later on, during an offline event, the goddess of his dreams actually added him as a friend. In order to earn more money for Qianbao, not only did he become a stunt double, he also became a stunt double for a flying car. There were a few times when his life was hanging by a thread. But it didn't matter. He did his best just to let his Qianbao live a better life. Every time he earned money, he would transfer it to Qianbao. At first, Qianbao didn't want it. But after he begged her, she accepted it. Soon after, she bought him a gift. An obsidian button. Although he didn't need it, it was the first gift Qianbao had given him. Just like that, he and Qianbao became closer and closer. In the middle of the night, Qianbao would video call him and cry about how pitiful she was. His heart ached every time, but he couldn't do anything about it. All he could do was give her more money. This time he really couldn't take it anymore. Xiangyi was clearly living a good life. Why did she have to snatch Qianbao's role as the female lead? No way. He wanted to destroy her. The man's fierce gaze landed on Xiangyi's face and he took out a fruit knife from his back. The knife was sharp and it reflected a cold light. Xiangyi slowly wrapped the thermal box with a floral cloth and tied a beautiful bow on it. "If you don't leave now, you won't have another chance." Hobby *T, who are you trying to scare? Without this face, let's see how you're going to snatch our Qianbao's things. Before she could finish her sentence, Xiangyi casually hooked the chair, and the chair smashed into the man's body with an astonishing force. *Ck. The man barely steadied himself, took out a fruit knife, and slashed it across Xiangyi's face. The girl's speed was even faster than his. It was beyond the speed of an ordinary human. She grabbed his wrist backhandedly. With a twist, the fruit knife fell to the ground. The man's wrist was dislocated in an instant, and he screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Xiangyi asked in a friendly manner, "Do you want to continue? I can set your bones just right. Man? If you don't say anything, I'll take it as a yes." The girl's voice was clear and sweet, and her movements were clean and efficient. Crack. The crisp sound of bones being set rang out at the same time as the man's wails. Xiangyi let go of him. The man tried to move his wrist. It was really healed? I was wrong, he apologized and pretended to be timid as he retreated. However, the first thing he did was to pick up the fruit knife on the ground and throw it at Xiangyi. Swish. The girl casually caught the hilt. It seems that your apology is insincere. After saying that, Xiangyi tossed the fruit knife in her hand like she was throwing a dart. The tip of the knife seemed to have grown eyes. It brushed past the man's ear and nailed itself into the door. Man? He hurriedly unlocked the door and tried to escape, but he realized that the door had been locked from the outside. The man suddenly had the urge to vomit blood. Oh, who is so wicked and heartless? Below the number of words is free, lucky draw list, 16 nights, brocade koi, handsome tangerine pie. No comments. The above cuties can send a private message to Yunchi and Xiang Nuan on Weibo to receive the prize. Crab. I'll make up for the rest of the updates. For all, sweetheart, good night. Chapter 984. Behind him, the footsteps were getting closer and closer. Tap, tap, tap. It was light and agile. To the man, it was scarier than a horror movie. He turned around and saw Xiangyi walking towards him step by step. Her eyes were filled with horror, and her back was pressed against the door. A chill ran down her spine, causing her to break out in a cold sweat. What are you doing? Even his voice was trembling. Xiangyi's expression didn't change. She pulled out the fruit knife that was nailed into the door. Her voice was gentle and soft, and she was a little annoyed. Oh no, I broke the door. I have to replace it. The man turned his head stiffly and found that there was a hole in the door that had been nailed through. Even a sturdy wooden door could be pierced through. If it was his head instead, the man was trembling. Where was the arrogance from before? Open the door, he wailed. He finally understood what true fear was. The girl raised her eyebrows. That's why I told you not to lock the door. The man wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He finally understood that Xiangyi didn't ask him not to lock the door for her sake, but for his own good. Xiangyi patted his face with the back of the knife and asked calmly, "Tell me, why did you come looking for trouble with me?" The man's cheeks were cold and his legs were weak. He had never been so scared in his life. He explained the whole sequence of events in detail. I did all this for Qianbao. Thinking of Qianbao's beautiful face, the man regained his strength. He looked at Xiangyi with eyes full of hatred. If it wasn't for you, Qianbao wouldn't have. Xiangyi couldn't be bothered to listen to his emotional speech. She went straight to the point. Director Yen hates unspoken rules and connections the most. Even Yen Nai had to go through many selections and auditions before he could play a small supporting role, not to mention a female lead role. I heard Director Yen mention that the actress you're talking about was eliminated in the preliminary stage. The reason was that her acting skills were too weak. She was given half an hour to prepare, but she didn't even remember 2 lines. There was never any shady dealings and no one persecuted her. With Director Yan's personality, if he really chooses her to be the female lead, no one will be able to snatch her away. The man felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He was stunned for more than 10 seconds before he murmured, "No, I don't believe it." The audition video was released a long time ago, but not many people paid attention to it. You should be able to find it if you search for it. The man trembled as he took out his phone. He searched for a while and found the audition video. Qianbao's performance could be described as barely satisfactory. It was already good enough. Regardless of whether it was her acting skills, her knowledge of the lines, or her ability to change her emotions, there wasn't a single thing that she could bring out. She cried for a long time, but not a single tear fell. Her eyes widened in anger, shock, and even when she saw the male lead, her eyes widened. The man fell to his knees in silence. Could it be that Qianbao was lying? No, impossible. Why would she lie to me, Xiangyi? Then take your time crying. I'll leave first. The man couldn't open the door no matter how hard he tried, but she easily opened it. After the girl left, the man pulled at his hair frantically for a long time before he realized that Xiangyi was actually... She didn't argue with him? How could there be such a good thing? He was secretly relieved and was about to leave when a slender figure blocked his way. Shui smiled faintly. You're bullying my little bunny, huh? With a casual tone he closed the door. The man? Chapter 985. Xiangyi carried the thermos and walked over while the crew members rushed to greet her. Sister E, it's been hard on you, go back and rest well. See you tomorrow, Sister E. Xiangyi responded with a smile. A new crew member stared at her slender back and swallowed his saliva. Wow, I realized that men aren't the only ones who are lustful. Even girls are lustful when they see pretty girls. The person beside him laughed and said, exactly. The newcomer said, but then again, Sister E is really popular. Of course. She's pretty and polite, and she even brings delicious food for everyone. Who can resist that? Just as they were chatting, they suddenly received a notice. The stunt actor for today's flying car had skipped work, and the director was trying to find another person to replace him. The two of them hurriedly shared the post on their WeChat moments, but to no avail. Stunt actors for flying cars are rare to begin with. It'll probably be difficult to find one at the last minute. But I heard that today's scene is very important. The car and detonation point have all been prepared. Director Yen even specially applied to the higher-ups to seal off a section of the road on the mountain. If the filming doesn't go well, we'll lose a lot of money. Everyone in the crew was similarly worried. On the set, Director Yen was so anxious that he was walking around in circles. The contract has already been signed. Why isn't that person here yet? Yen Nai was memorizing his words at the side like an obedient child. Rong Huai, who was beside him, was playing with his cell phone nonchalantly. After scrolling through a Weibo post, he sprung up. What's the matter? Yen Nai hurriedly asked upon seeing his strange expression. F***CKXXXX. This group of bastards XXX. What kind of shit is this? The young man spat out a string of vulgarities, causing Yen Nai's eyes to widen. How can you scold people? Rong Huai said angrily. Take a look for yourself. Yen Nai leaned over to look at his cell phone screen, only to see that Rong Huai had scrolled through a Weibo post in the same city. There were 0 likes and comments, but the content was terrifying. Qinbao's Night V. For Qinbao, I'm willing to do anything. My heart belongs to you. As long as you're happy, I'll ruin Xiangyi. The accompanying picture was of a pair of tattooed hands holding a fruit knife. Yen Nai's face paled. This tattoo. I've seen it before. He seems to be today's stuntman. Rong Huai's pupils constricted as he cursed under his breath and immediately went to look for Xiangyi. Just as his long legs moved, he saw Xiangyi appear in his line of sight. Rong Huai locked his gaze on Xiangyi and heaved a sigh of relief after making sure that she was safe and sound. Xiangyi walked up to Director Yen and briefly explained what had happened between her and the stuntman. No one heard him clearly. They only heard Director Yen ask in return. The stuntman left? You're letting him go just like that? Realizing that his voice was too loud, Director Yen lowered his voice. Don't be afraid, I'll call the police now. I must seek justice for you. The staff didn't hear the rest of the words and couldn't help but whisper. So it was Sister E who asked the stuntman to leave? Is there something you're hiding? The speed at which gossip spread was even more rampant than a virus. By the time it was posted online, it had already become. Xiangyi threw her weight around and chased away the stuntman from the production team, causing the production team to suffer heavy losses. Several fans who had long disliked Xiangyi for taking on 2 good jobs in a row, began to make sarcastic remarks. Wow, she's so arrogant. Be careful, the higher you stand, the harder you fall. Chapter 986. She's been bragging about being gentle all this time, but now she's given herself away. I knew she wasn't a good person. Seriously, don't you think Xiangyi is very scary? She's always wearing a mask, which makes her look so unreal. She can't even tolerate stuntmen. This must be her true colors. Oh my god, I heard that the crew even sealed off a section of the road for this scene. If we can't film it today, the losses will be at least 7 figures. The Spicy Tutu fans' response to this was, quietly watching you guys wreak havoc. JPG. The Shursui sisters were fiercely protective of their child. AB*TCH will be punished by the heavens. Whoever badmouths Sister E is going to lose. In terms of combat power, the Shursui sisters were no match for the Shursui sisters even if they joined forces. For a while, they didn't dare to confront them head-on. However, it wasn't easy for them to find a flaw in Xiangyi, and they tried their best to magnify it. Xiangyi has caused losses to the crew, do you admit it? I'm dying of laughter. Who's bad-mouthing her? She's the one who did something wrong. No matter what the reason is, there are no stuntmen anymore. Can she bear the responsibility? While the netizens were arguing, the crew was very harmonious. Director Yen carefully instructed someone to call the police, but he didn't forget to comfort Xiangyi. Sister E, don't feel burdened. You're completely the victim today. Don't worry. I'll pay for the losses of the crew out of my own pocket. I can still afford it. He was a director, but he was also a human being. A crime was a crime, and the culprit should be the one to blame, not the victim. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment, and a warm current flowed through her heart. She was actually very lucky to always meet such a gentle person. The girl blinked and asked, "Stuntman? Excuse me, can I try it?" A few minutes later, the entire crew was in an uproar. "Have you guys heard? Sister E volunteered to be in charge of the stuntmen today. Sister E is so delicate and weak. Has she gotten her driver's license yet? How can she do such a dangerous thing?" "That's right. How can a girl do such a thing?" Under everyone's watchful eyes, Xiangyi opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat, not forgetting to fasten her seatbelt. The car window rolled down and the young girl stuck her head out and said to Director Yen, "I only know a little bit. Please take a look at the effect first. If it doesn't work, we can think of another way together." Director Yen looked like a worried father. "Sister E, it's too dangerous. Be good, get out of the car first. Even if I have to go racing, I can't let you go." His nagging was silenced by the roar of the engine. The modified car had a lot of horsepower. Once he stepped on the accelerator, he would be able to drive faster than anyone else. There were a lot of bends on this mountain road. Even an experienced driver wouldn't dare to drive too fast. However, not only was Xiangyi's speed fast, but when she passed the first bend, the car drew a beautiful arc and easily drifted through the bend. Everyone? What the F asterisk CK? Was it drifting? Am I right? Sister E actually knew how to drift. Not only that, the girl also showed off some drifting, straight drifting, pressure jumping, air jumping, tail swinging, side sliding and other racing techniques. Director Yen clutched his heart tightly, and his expression gradually became dazed. This was called, only knowing a little bit. Chapter 987. Screech. The tires rubbed against the ground and came to a sudden stop. Xiangyi alighted from the car. Seeing that everyone was silent, she curled her finger guiltily. "Did you guys see that I made a mistake when I did the jump just now? I haven't practiced in a long time, so I'm a little rusty. Why don't I do it again? I think I should be able to perform better." Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream as they looked at Xiangyi in a different light. "Big boss. She's the real big boss. Big boss. She's the real king." Especially the female crew members, their eyes were filled with stars. Indeed, when a girl is handsome, men have nothing to do with her. Seeing that the girl wanted to do it again, Director Yen hurriedly persuaded her. No. Good. Very good. Very good. Sister E, I didn't expect you to be so good at hiding your skills. You're comparable to a professional racer. Beat up that stunt actor who skipped work." Everyone was speechless. Did that stunt actor skip work because of himself? At the side, Yen Nai's tone was full of admiration as he whispered to himself, "Sister is so impressive, just like an actress in a movie. Idiot, she's an actress, all right?" Rong Hui pretended to look at the birds flying in the sky and whistled like a ruffian. He said proudly, "Her driving skills are SSO not too bad." At this moment, Xiangyi and Director Yen were done talking and walked towards the two of them. "Rong Hui, is it convenient for you to lend me your jacket?" The arrogant little wolf cub immediately straightened his back. The young man's ears turned red as he stammered, You want to wear my jacket?" Xiangyi nodded. "Yes." Director Yen changed the script at the last minute. "I'm in charge of playing the role of the villain, and the character is rebellious. We think that your style of clothing is more suitable for this role. Sister wants to wear my jacket." Rong Hui felt as if he had drunk 2 kilograms of fake alcohol and was rolling on cotton candy. Aye. Xiangyi misunderstood his meaning. It's okay if it's inconvenient. I'm sorry to have put you in a difficult position." She had seen people who were obsessed with cleanliness when she had transmigrated. They couldn't even stand a speck of dust. Therefore, she fully understood that everyone would have different feelings towards the same things. She felt that it did not matter whether Rong Hui lent her the money or not, and she did not think that Rong Hui was in the wrong. "Xiangyi, I'll discuss it with the stylist. If it doesn't work, I'll go to the mall and buy one." Before she could finish speaking, Rong Hui hurriedly said, "No. I'm not making things difficult for you. I'm willing to borrow it." The youth began to take off his jacket on the spot, and even placed his hand on his black belt. Yen Nai, who was beside him, coughed loudly. "Hey, sister is a girl. Be careful." Only then did Rong Hui sober up. The little wolf cub's ears turned red, and it wished it could dig a hole and bury itself in it. What was he doing? He actually unbuckled his belt in front of his sister. Destroy this world. Xiangyi turned around the moment he took off his jacket. She said, "The jacket is fine. Thank you." Rong Hui was so embarrassed that he threw his jacket at her and ran away. Yen Nai couldn't help but laugh out loud. However, Xiangyi suddenly patted his shoulder. The girl said gently, "Well, I'm going to start filming soon. I heard that the two of you have a good relationship. Can you please coax Ronghuai for me?" Yan Nai, huh? When he met Xiangyi's gentle and clear eyes, he swallowed the thousands of reasons that were at the tip of his tongue. "Okay, I'll listen to you, sister." Chapter 988. In an empty corner. Ronghuai squatted in the corner and pulled up his sweater. He then tightened the rope with a swoosh as the scene of social death replayed in his mind. He actually took off his pants in front of sister. Took off his pants, his pants. Suddenly he heard a gentle and obedient voice. "Ronghuai, are you all right?" Ronghuai looked up and saw that it was Yan Nai. He said arrogantly, "What are you doing here? You're a model student." 2 days ago, Yan Nai had received the Model Student Award and happily shared it with him. However, Ronghuai felt that he was showing off. After all, let alone being a good student, he had never even received a positive labor award or a helpful award since he was young. "I'm here to coax you," he said matter-of-factly. Ronghuai was dumbfounded. "Coax? I'm a man. Do I need this?" Yan Nai took out a piece of candy from his pocket. Although he couldn't bear to part with it, he finally made up his mind and handed it to Ronghuai. "Here, sister's candy. Have it." Ronghuai was flabbergasted. What the hell? Could it be that this 3-merit student had some inappropriate thoughts about him? Yan Nai smiled, unaware that the little wolf in front of him had already imagined dozens of dramatic scenes. On set. Director Yan confirmed again. "Sister E, have you really made up your mind?" Xiangyi said, "Yes." Director Yan was still a little worried and got the crew to check the car inside and out again to make sure that there were no problems with the accelerator and brakes. "We'll get ready to begin then." Director Yan then instructed. "If there are any problems, stop immediately. Don't force yourself, got it?" In Yan Genoa's heart, the movie was important, but human lives were more important. He couldn't do something that only cared about the movie's effects and didn't care about the safety of the actors. Xiangyi adjusted her mask and wig and started the car. After the makeup artist's skillful makeover, she now looked like a thin and rebellious teenager. Her short, flaxen hair accentuated her fair skin, and she leaned her elbows lazily on the steering wheel while tapping rhythmically. "Let's try to get this scene done in one take. Is everyone confident?" Director Yin began to mobilize them. Everyone at the scene said, "Of course." Action. When they heard Director Yan's command, the cars started a chase. Shoot the racing scene first, then edit the scenes inside the car. The effect would be better if they edited it later. The cars used for this scene were not cheap. In the end, one of them had to flip over and another one exploded. It was a test of the budget. Everyone was well aware that there was almost no possibility of a second chance. Other than Xiangyi, the other drivers were all stunt performers and had rich experience. Everyone was worried about whether Xiangyi could finish this long shot under such high pressure. But what was shocking was that Xiangyi made 0 mistakes. Drifting, heel toe, tangent passing, attacking and defending in a roundabout way, jumping in the air, the series of predetermined movements were completed flawlessly. In comparison, it was the special effects actors who made some small mistakes. Schwa. The last scene was when Xiangyi's car stopped in front of the main character's car, forcing him to brake. The rebellious and unruly youth raised his head and whistled nonchalantly. His smile was ruffian and lazy. Then he extended his middle finger and made an international friendly gesture. Director Yen shouted, "Cut!" and screams of the female staff members instantly erupted from the scene. Director Yen? Chapter 989. Wait a minute, what was wrong with these young ladies? He could understand why they were screaming at male celebrities, but why were they screaming at Sister E? The assistant director tried to stifle his laughter and said, "Young ladies nowadays don't necessarily like men. When a female celebrity is handsome, male celebrities will have nothing to do with her." Director Yen looked like he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. "I really don't understand the young world anymore." The moment Xiangyi got out of the car, she was surrounded by female crew members. Hubby, drink some water." "Hubby, are you tired? You must be feeling hot wearing a wig. Let me wipe your sweat for you." Hubby, I have energy bars here. Do you want one to fill your stomach?" When Shui arrived at the set, he saw his little bunny being surrounded by everyone. Little bunny was holding a bunch of food and drinks in her arms. There were girls wiping her sweat and holding her drinks. There were even girls who were blowing at her with a small fan. "Hubby, can you call me wifey?" "Boo-hoo, Shui, ? He suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. The next second, He heard his little bunny lowering her voice and switching from a sweet young girl's voice to a lazy young man's. Wifey, what else do you want to hear, huh? Hence, the screams became even louder. Ah, hubby, I love you. Sure Sui? Director Yin seemed to have noticed Sure Sui's confusion and wanted to watch the show. You didn't expect that apart from men, there are also so many female rivals in love. Sure Sui smiled. Rivals in love are just rivals in love. They only have one boyfriend. Director Yin, who used to treat Xiangyi as his daughter-in-law, felt inexplicably stifled. He changed the topic. Why are you so late? Weren't you always the Amarok when Sister E was filming? Sure Sui said casually, I was dealing with the garbage. Oh, you're quite particular. But garbage sorting is very important. I'm preparing to shoot an environmental documentary after this film. Let me tell you, environmental protection is too important. Director Yen kept nagging. Sure Sui lazily took out a lollipop. In this movie, his character had a smoking scene, and his addiction to smoking was aroused again. In order to quit smoking, Xiangyi prepared a lollipop for him. After talking for a while, Director Yan's throat was dry. He picked up the thermos and drank some water. Puzzled, he asked, How long have you taken out this candy? Why aren't you eating it? Is it scalding your mouth? Sure Sui smiled without saying anything. Coincidentally, Xiangyi walked over. She still had the appearance of a rebellious youth, but her temperament and eyes were completely different. She was rebellious and unruly in the drama, but now she was gentle and soft. Sure, pitiful, Sui, Sister E can't open it. Director Yen was speechless. Let me. Xiangyi held the bottom of the bag and squeezed it hard. The bag made a bang and the seal opened automatically. The girl smiled and put the candy into his mouth. Is it sweet? Director Yen was speechless. He had lost. He had lost. He knew Sure Sui was a dog, but he didn't expect Sure Sui to be such a dog. Director Yen walked away silently. He didn't know if the lollipop was sweet or not, but he was already full of dog food. He habitually took out his phone. When he saw Xiangyi being accused of acting like a diva, Director Yen frowned. How dare they slander Sister E? Sister E almost became his daughter-in-law. Rounding it up, he was Sister Yi's father. Just wait, haters, your daddy fan is here. Smiley face. Chapter 990. On the internet, the netizens who were surfing the internet felt that today's drama was a little boring. There was no solid evidence at all. They really wanted to see a drama with solid evidence. It would be best if it was something like Thor's hammer. Then, the fool came. Someone saw the Weibo account of the stuntman and quickly tagged the gossip account. After being reposted by several entertainment celebrities, the post appeared on the homepage of countless people. All of a sudden there was a huge uproar. Damn, he ruined Xiangyi? He's even holding a knife? What happened to Sister E? Did the production team call the police? Huh? So it's not that Sister E is throwing her weight around and chasing him away, but that stuntman is the one who's problematic. Of course, there were also people who were still trying to defame Xiangyi. No matter what, it's an indisputable fact that the stuntman has caused losses to the production team, right? He might just have posted something on Weibo. He might not have really done anything. Can't he just say it? He's affected the progress of the production team and caused major losses. How can he clear his name? How can he chase someone away just because of a Weibo post? If this isn't throwing her weight around, what is it? It's just like how someone calls Sure Sui her husband on Weibo. Does Xiangyi have the right to think that the other party is a homewrecker? The Weibo posts made the Sure Sui sisters fly into a rage. Even Spicy Tutu, who had always been passive, couldn't take it anymore. Even a rabbit would bite when it was cornered. Hence, on this day the entire fanbase witnessed Spicy Tutu's combat prowess. She presented facts, reasoned with them, gave examples, wrote jokes, sang raps, created emoticons and compared them in Chinese, English, French and other languages. It could be said that there was a storm of blood on the internet, and the fans were dumbfounded. It was as if Tutu had gone to war and left no survivors. Even Sure Sui sisters were stunned. Are they still the same bunch of rabbits who can't even be bothered to vote? How can they be so fierce? I suddenly feel that Sure Sui isn't the only one who can't do it, neither can Sure Sui sisters. Spicy Tutu's anger shut those haters up. What really changed the public opinion was Director Yan's Weibo post. As a famous director in the country, he also liked to use Weibo. He also had millions of fans on Weibo, which was more than some of the B-list and B-list celebrities. Yen Zhenhua V. To clarify 2 points. First, Sister E did not put on airs. Second, Sister E did not cause any losses to the crew. Also, today I found out that Sister E knows a little flying car stunt. I want to share it with everyone. I hope you like it. Yan Zhenhua had uploaded a video of Xiangyi's first test drive. There wasn't much of a storyline and the shots were the most ordinary shots. However, Xiangyi's racing skills were already amazing. The netizens were speechless. You call this a little bit? It's clearly 100 million dots. F***CK? So Sister E also has racing skills? Is there anything Sister E can't do? Haha, I can hear the girls screaming at the scene and some are even calling for their hubby. They're practically shouting my heart out. My husband is so handsome. The official fan clubs and fans of Xiangyi's who were competing with her also gave instructions. They could provoke anyone except Xiangyi. This wave of face slaps that could be described as lightning speed made the netizens play a joke. Magical girl Xiangyi had the glorious beauty halo, the team pet halo, and the 100% face slapping halo. Her talent skills were as follows: God of Cooking LV, 999, Medical Sage LV, 999, Art LV, 999, Sports LV, 999, Force LV, 999. In short, she was a max-level big shot. Chapter 991. After the post was posted on Weibo, Xiangyi's fans went into another frenzy. Previously, most of them were foodie fans, sister fans and mommy fans, but this time they were all girlfriend fans and wifey fans. There were even many popular fans who rebelled on the spot and went to Spicy Tutu's house. The comments under Xiangyi's Weibo had also changed. Sister E is so cute. Brother E is so handsome. What should I do? Sister E or Brother E are confessing to me at the same time. Waiting online, it's urgent. My wife is Sister E and my husband is Brother E. I'm so blessed. Good night, Xiangyi. Good night, hubby. Jumping between mommy fans and wifey fans without any obstacles. However, before the first wave subsided, another wave arose. Just as Xiangyi was crazily gaining fans, someone suddenly exposed a huge piece of news on the internet. Hashtag Shui is cheating. Hashtag when the netizens saw this trending topic, they immediately jumped up and down like bees in a melon field. The programmers of Weibo's technical department all received a call, asking them to immediately prepare for server maintenance no matter where they were. The netizens clicked on the trending topic and found that someone had uploaded a photo. Recycled star. Sob 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 sob. The attached photo was a group photo of the tall and burly Shui talking to a thin young man. The two of them formed the most adorable height difference and at first glance, it was quite pleasing to the eye. However, the netizens were all in an uproar. Cheating? Shui, you're heartless. There are no more CP fans. Damn it, Shui, you scumbag. I heard that a house had collapsed, so I wanted to come over and take a look. I didn't expect it to be my house that had collapsed. Smile? Although this young man only has a side profile, I think he's really good looking. His face is definitely not inferior to Sister Yi's. My heart aches for Sister E. There was chaos on Weibo. Some people were crying, some were gloating, and some were munching on melon seeds to watch the fun. Until someone suddenly discovered a blind spot. Well, don't you think that this young man's figure is similar to Sister Yi's? The lines on his side profile are also similar. This guess immediately made the netizens come up with even more ideas. Brain hole 1. This is Shuringdi's true love, the white moonlight. Sister E was just a substitute. He was just a substitute. Brain hole 2. Someone deliberately found a boy who looked like Xiangyi to frame Shuringdi. It was just a publicity stunt. Brain hole 3. Xiangyi has always been a man dressed as a woman. She is not she, but he. But this time he accidentally exposed his true gender. It's just the truth. There was also brainstorming for brainstorming 5. By the time Xiangyi and Shui heard about Anan, the netizens were already imagining that the two of them had been possessed by aliens and that they were about to infect all of humanity with the virus in the next second. Then aliens would rule the earth. In the video call, Anan shrugged. That's pretty much it. Si Chuanbai, who was beside him, rubbed the space between his eyebrows. The trending topic has been removed. Do you need the company to make a statement? Anan asked. Do you want to make a statement that the two of them aren't aliens? Xiangyi? Shui? Si Chuanbai adjusted his glasses. The gold medal manager who had always been strict and indifferent had learned how to flatter. That's a good idea. It's worth learning from. Really? Anan said embarrassedly. It's not that impressive. If it can help you, Mr. C, that would be great. Xiangyi? She silently hung up the video call. Chapter 992. As soon as Xiangyi hung up the video call, Director Yen hurriedly rushed over. Sister E, why don't I post the video of you racing in men's clothing? Otherwise the netizens will misunderstand. What kind of messy trending topic is this? Xiangyi shook her head. No need, Director Yen. If you post another video, it will be considered a spoiler and affect the audience's viewing experience. This. Director Yen was a little moved. The young lady had already been scolded to such an extent, yet she was still thinking about the viewing experience. Why doesn't my disappointing son know how to abduct Xiangyi home? I've thought of a solution, but I need your help. Xiangyi said the second half of the sentence to Shi Sui. A certain Shi Sui chuckled. My pleasure, Your Highness. Director Yen was speechless. Forget it, do as you see fit. If you need me to post a video, just let me know. I'll go see how the set is going. He wasn't going to take this public display of affection. A few minutes later, Xiangyi updated her Weibo with a new post. Xiangyi V. I'm doing a live stream on Xinchen TV. Click on the link and join my live stream. Link? The netizens were shocked. Sister E was going to start a live stream? In an instant, everyone clicked on the live stream and called their friends. The number of viewers in the live stream exceeded 1 million in minutes. The page jumped and Xiangyi's face appeared on the screen. However, the camera was pointed at the girl's chin from a devilish angle. But even at such an angle, the lines of her chin were still impeccable. A magnetic and flirtatious chuckle crashed into everyone's ears, causing them to tremble. Shi Sui was actually there too? Put your phone here. Shi Sui placed Xiangyi's phone on the stand and zoomed out to capture Xiangyi's upper body. Wait a minute, why wasn't it Sister E but a boy? The netizens looked at the short-haired young man on the screen in confusion. What the F***? Is Shi Sui provoking everyone? This is too much. Sister E is such a good person, but you actually cheated on her. Oh no, it's the feeling of being moved. This little brother is so good-looking, and his eyebrows and eyes are so similar to Sister Yi's. If I were Sheringi, I wouldn't be able to resist either. The next second, the short-haired boy waved his hand at the crowd and smiled, revealing his dimples. Long time no see. I'm Xiangyi. This familiar soft and gentle voice, the netizens. Some netizens trembled and asked uncertainly, Are you, Sister E? Xiangyi replied, It's me. She lifted a corner of her wig to prove her identity. This wig is for acting. I made a cameo appearance as a boy in Night is Coming. Xiangyi leaned closer to the screen. Her fair, porcelain-like skin was so delicate that it could be broken by a blow. She smiled and asked, Do I look good in men's clothing? The live stream was silent for 2 seconds, and then the bullet screen was flooded with comments. Ah, hubby. So he didn't cheat at all, and Sister E is just in men's clothing? I'm dead, wifey. Oh no, hubby, don't come so close. I can't breathe. Xiangyi was a little embarrassed by the compliments. I feel a little weird in men's clothing, I'd better take off the wig. At this moment, the bullet screen reached an astonishing level of unity. Hubby, no. I won't allow it. Xiangyi blinked and thought of something. She lowered her voice and said lazily, Okay, wifey, and so, the bullet screen became even crazier. Chapter 993. Sob, hubby. Sister E, I can dress as a man. I don't care, Sister E is calling me wife. As for Shi Sui, he was ignored by the netizens. The man folded his arms and glanced at the comments from time to time, feeling a little jealous. He took out his cell phone and sent a message to Sichuan Bai. What if your girlfriend is more popular than me? After a long time, Sichuan Bai finally replied, You only found out now? Shi Sui was dumbfounded. A certain best actor who was indignant about being ignored, decided to be a little impulsive. He covered his lips with his slender fingers and coughed twice. As expected, Xiangyi's attention was immediately attracted and she couldn't be bothered to interact with the netizens. She turned around and asked with concern, Are you all right? It's just, my throat feels a little uncomfortable. Shi Sui coughed a few more times and said weakly, I'm sorry to have affected you. No way. Wait here, I'll go get you some lozenges and syrup. The girl got up to look for the medicine while Shi Sui's lips curled into a smile. Xiangyi didn't see his smile, but the netizens watching the live stream could see it clearly. Shi Sui is the most shameless of the family of 4. Little Shiji is just a younger brother to you? The dragon's well of the mortal world is Sui, a little Sui. Shi Sui wasn't annoyed and instead said with a smirk, Everyone, you're flattering me. Everyone was speechless. They were shocked. Has a certain best actor become so thick-skinned? Seeing that he was in a good mood, the fans mustered up the courage to ask him all sorts of questions. Ever since Shi Sui debuted, he had never accepted any interview or variety shows. Apart from the publicity period for his works, he had been in a state of seclusion for the rest of the time. His fans were looking forward to interacting with him, but they didn't have the chance to. Shi Sui answered almost all of their questions today. What's the experience of filming a movie? During the process of making a movie, there were both beautiful and torturous moments. But when I see my character appear on the big screen, it is indeed a very fulfilling thing. Wedding date? I've lived for 27 years and I've never been urged to get married by my family. You guys are actually urging me to get married. Baby's name? Oh, the name you came up with is not bad. I'll keep it for future use. When Xiangyi came over with the medical kit, she happened to hear Shi Sui say, "Hobby. Does chasing stars count?" But when the netizens asked who he was chasing, Shi Sui just smiled and said nothing. Xiangyi sat down beside him and asked curiously, "Chasing after idols? Who are you chasing?" Shi Sui, "It's a secret." Oh, Xiangyi had never liked to pry into other people's privacy. She took out a bottle of throat lozenges from the medical kit. "Here, take one of these if your throat is uncomfortable. Remember to drink more water. Also, take this medicine 3 times a day. If it's loquat syrup, don't drink water for half an hour after you finish it. You've been too tired recently. After you're done with work, you must stay in bed and rest for the next few days. Drink more hot water to promote your body's metabolism." The viewers of the live stream immediately went into a frenzy. 3 times? Isn't that too little? Doghead. Resting in bed alone is not as effective as resting in bed with 2 people. Why drink hot water? Sister E is feeding the medicine with her saliva. Please unlock the paid content immediately. After Xiangyi gave her instructions, she wanted to take a look at the comments on her phone, but Shi Sui covered her eyes. The girl was puzzled. Shi Sui said calmly, "It's not suitable for children." "I see," Xiangyi whispered. "But now that you mention it, I want to see it even more. I want to see how inappropriate it is." Chapter 994. Shi Sui was speechless for a moment. The tips of Xiangyi's ears turned slightly red. "I'll just take a look, just one look." The netizens in the live stream were about to die of laughter. "Sister E wants to see it, right? Sure, I'll give you a few lines." "Woo, Zai Zai is being naughty, mommy won't allow it." F***seek, I'm laughing my head off. What kind of immortal cutie is Sister E? Do you really want to see it? Shi Sui asked with raised eyebrows. Yeah. The netizens rubbed their palms together and placed their fingers on the keyboard, ready to give Xiangyi a few lines at any time. To their surprise, Shi Sui smiled and leaned closer to the girl's fair earlobe. "I'll read it to you then." The netizens were dumbfounded. He lowered his voice and read the comments in a decibel that only the 2 of them could hear. The netizens watched helplessly as Xiangyi's ears turned from slightly red to tomato red, and then the crimson color spread to her slender neck and small face. The netizens were speechless. A dog is a dog after all, I'm convinced. After reading a few lines, Xiangyi's head was burning up and she exclaimed, "That's enough." "That's all?" Shi Sui clicked his tongue and said in a lazy tone, "Let's continue next time." Xiangyi pushed his hand away and said with a red face, "Hurry up and take your medicine." She did it on purpose, but her throat was really sore. Shi Sui got up to get some water. The misunderstanding had been cleared, and #Shi Sui cheating hashtag was no longer trending. Instead, it was replaced by #Xiangyi in men's clothing hashtag, which had already jumped to the top 5. Xiangyi chatted with the netizens for a while and was ready to wrap things up. That's all for today's live stream. Buzz. Shi Sui's cell phone, which was left on the table, rang. Xiangyi said, "It's a call for you." Shi Sui said without turning his head, "Answer it for me." Oh. Xiangyi saw that the caller ID showed the words, "Housekeeping Service." Without thinking much, she answered the call. Her finger accidentally touched the hands-free button, and before she could turn it off, a man's enthusiastic voice came from the receiver. "Sir, the Sister E signage, poster, postcard and pillow that you ordered. I'll send you upwind delivery this time, right?" Xiangyi. Shi Sui. "Okay, thank you for your hard work," Xiangyi replied calmly. I'll deliver it now. If you need in the future, I guarantee I'll give you the best quality products to Sister. By the way, are you using? Ah, your voice sounds so much like Xiangyi's. As expected of Xiangyi's diehard fan, Bunny's husband. Shi Sui strode over and hung up the phone. Shi Sui said without changing his expression, "I can explain." The hand that was actually holding the water trembled slightly, revealing his emotions. "Well?" Xiangyi pointed at the cell phone on the stand. I haven't turned off the live stream yet. With a loud splash, the water in Shui's hand was spilled all over. The screen of the live stream went black. The netizens went crazy. Could the star that Shirindi is chasing after be Xiangyi? Hey buddy, look at what I found. I really found the Weibo account, Tutu's hubby. The content on Weibo is all about Sister Yi's likes, comments, reposts, and votes. She's definitely the #1 fan. Ha, Shui, you've exposed yourself. You're even wooing your own wife after seeing yourself as a couple. Awesome. Really awesome. Chapter 995. On Weibo. Shui was at the top of the trending searches. Hashtag I'm chasing my wife hashtag was at the top of the trending searches for an entire day. His post on Weibo, Tutu's husband, was also shared by netizens. It was like a public execution. For example, Tutu's husband. I like Tutu so much. Tutu's husband. Are you going to criticize me again? Do you think I'm dead? Tutu's husband. Every day with Tutu is beautiful. Sunny days are beautiful, cloudy days are beautiful, and rainy days are beautiful too. Because it's Tutu, everything is just right. While the netizens were laughing, they were also genuinely jealous. Woo, it's too untimely, isn't it too sweet? Shui is secretly using a fake account to chase after his wife. In reality, the scene was very awkward. Xiangyi stared at Shui. Shui avoided her gaze. The girl asked uncertainly, so, the celebrity you're chasing after is me? Shui stuffed a mint-flavored throat candy into his mouth, indicating that it was not convenient for him to speak. It could be said that he was really deceiving himself. Xiangyi took out her cell phone and pretended to search for Weibo. Then I'll search for it myself. The next second, the man snatched her cell phone away. Xiangyi said calmly, why? Are you shy? Shui mumbled, no. Really? Shui stopped talking. The man put one hand in his pocket and looked at the sky and the ground, but he did not look at Xiangyi. Xiangyi only found it funny. The girl tiptoed and the warmth of her breath fell on the man's clean and obvious collarbone. Boyfriend? I didn't know you had such a childish side. Shui's eyes darkened and his Adam's apple bobbed twice. He still looked serious and abstinent. It's time for me to go and film. The man left with large strides. His back was still straight and his demeanor was still elegant. However, his back view looked like he was fleeing. 2 months later. Director Yan's filming progress was steady, and the pace of filming was very smooth. Moreover, as an experienced director, he put the scenes with strong emotions at the back of the film. After 2 months of training, everyone's acting skills improved by leaps and bounds, especially Yan Nai and Rong Huai. In the end, the roles that the two of them played in the drama turned evil. The female doctor gave them a temporary warmth, but she could not really cure them. The two of them relied on the priest's hints and advanced step by step. First, they sent the female doctor away. Then, they put a lethal amount of drugs into the ventilation system of the mental hospital. The drug was spread to every room in the hospital. Other than the female doctor, everyone else in the hospital had died from the injuries sustained by the two teenagers. Their last scene was to set the entire mental hospital on fire. However, the female doctor found out. The two of them panicked at first, then looked at each other and became completely evil. Sister, no one in this mental hospital is innocent. The rebellious young man smiled. They all deserve it. The depressed young man's eyes were sinister. Sister, if you run faster, we might consider letting you off. The two of them approached the female doctor step by step. The female doctor did not take a step back. She looked at the two of them quietly as a teardrop rolled down her cheek. Police sirens came from all directions and the two of them panicked. They were like headless flies not knowing where to run. Run to the west. The female doctor's voice was very soft. She put a candy in their hands and said with reddened eyes, if possible, run as far as you can. The two of them hesitated for a moment before running away and disappearing into the dark wilderness. Cut. That's it. Congratulations to Rong Huai and Yan Nai. Chapter 996. No one said a word. After a long time, Yan Nai sobbed softly. It was as if a switch had been turned on as many emotional staff members began to wipe their tears. Hey, what's there to cry about? You're just so pretentious. Rong Huai complained as his eyes turned red. They had been filming together for more than 2 months and had experienced the joys and sorrows of the characters together. It would be a lie to say that he was not moved. Suddenly, Rong Huai felt a gentle pat on his shoulder. He turned his face and met the gentle smile of a young girl. Here, the spicy strips that you two want to eat. Who wants to eat this kind of junk food? Rong Huai said awkwardly, but his nose felt even more sour. He had only asked Yen Nai what spicy strips tasted like previously. Yen Nai said that he did not know either. Yen Nai's mother was very strict and did not allow him to eat snacks since he was a child. Rong Huai had never been interested in these things since he was a child, but he was curious now that he was older. Xiangyi was also present at that time and smiled and said that she would make some for them to try. Unexpectedly, Xiangyi remembered it. She really made some for them. The young girl bought the snacks in small packages and gave them all to the two of them. Try it. If you like it, I'll make something else for you next time. Yen Nai could no longer hold it in as he sobbed softly and cried pitifully. Rong Huai gripped the vacuum bag so tightly that the veins on the back of his hand bulged. He was slow to get into character, but he was very immersed in it. Subconsciously, he had already equated Xiangyi with the female doctor in the drama. She was so gentle. Would there be a place for him in her heart? He did not want too much. Just a little would do. However, Shi Sui's appearance shattered his fantasy. The man had a furry fleece jacket on his arm and two cute rabbit ears on his hat. He put the jacket on Xiangyi's shoulders and asked softly, "How do you feel?" Xiangyi chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I'll get out of character very quickly." The speed at which the two of them got into character was probably the fastest in the industry. They were emotional in the drama, but they were calm outside the drama. A look of disappointment flashed past Rong Huai's eyes. The little wolf cub still did not know how to hide it, so Shi Sui easily discovered his abnormality. The man raised his eyebrows, but he didn't say anything to save his face. His slender and powerful hands were clasped tightly around Xiangyi's slender waist, declaring his strong possessiveness. Rong Huai's eyes gradually dimmed. Seeing this, Director Yen sighed silently. He loved her, she loved him, he loved her to make her love him. The word, love, could be said to be a calamity. Many people were unable to escape this calamity. Following that, every day there would be actors completing their scenes. One by one, the big shots handed in their perfect acting skills. Each scene was more and more intense than the previous one. The pace of everyone turning evil was getting more and more sensational. That ray of justice was getting weaker and weaker, but from start to finish they never gave up. Everyone had a feeling that even if this movie didn't explode at the box office, it would definitely win a lot of awards. Tomorrow is the last scene of the movie. In the wee hours of the morning before the set wrapped up, Director Yen said earnestly, "Shi Sui and Sister E must have a good rest tonight. Also, are you guys confident?" There was a feeble response from the set. Shi Sui nodded slightly. Xiangyi smiled and said, "After work tomorrow, I'll treat everyone to a meal." Wow. There were cheers at the set, and the originally depressed mood was instantly stirred up. Director Yen was dumbfounded. "You guys must be the atmosphere team that Sister E hired." Chapter 997. It was late at night. In the corridor of the hotel, Anan and Si Chuanbai were delivering supper to their artists. "Mr. Si, do you think it's appropriate for me to deliver supper to little darling?" Anan's hands were empty. In contrast, Si Chuanbai's hands were full of bags. The man said calmly, "It's a good thing to avoid arousing suspicion. Let's deliver it to Shi Sui first, then let him deliver it to Sister E. Or perhaps we can deliver it to Sister E together." "Wow. Mr. C is so thoughtful. Boo-hoo, Mr. C, you're so good at it." This little colorful guy's bootlicking was really, one would never get tired of hearing it. The corners of Si Chuanbai's lips curled up subconsciously. He had Shi Sui's key card and had informed him in advance. When he arrived at the door, he knocked twice and swiped the card to enter. Shi Sui was sitting on the single-seater sofa by the floor-to-ceiling window, his long legs crossed as he lazily flipped through the script. He had already flipped through a few pages of the book to the brim. "Eat something first. Don't worry, we only bought bland food." Si Chuanbai placed two large bags on the coffee table. Shi Sui looked up. His black hair had been grown long for the sake of the plot. His hair was loose and covered his eyes, making him look like a model from a Japanese magazine. "Have you delivered it to her?" "Not yet." Anan raised his hand. "Then let's deliver it to little darling together?" Shi Sui slowly closed the script. Although he was smiling, his smile was extremely cold. "What did you call her?" Shi Sui's aura was strong and overwhelming. Anan couldn't withstand it at all and changed his words. "Sister E," Shi Sui restrained himself and said gently, only I can call her little darling from now on." Anan's eyes lit up. Shi Sui is so manly and protective of his wife. Si Chuanbai pressed his forehead, but his thoughts were, Shi Sui was becoming more and more like a primary school student. The three of them carried the takeout bags and went to look for Xiangyi. The doorbell rang a few times, followed by the sound of footsteps. Xiangyi opened the door with the script in her hands. She seemed to be thinking about tomorrow's scenes. Anan was stunned for a moment. Only then did he realize that both Shi Sui and Xiangyi had top-notch talents among their peers, but they still worked very, very hard. Also, Mr. C had to deal with so many things every day and had to help him from time to time. Anan was ashamed. He clenched his fists and swore to himself that he could no longer rely on Mr. C. He would work hard to become an independent manager. Ali for Nanan. By the time Anan came back to his senses, he realized that Xiangyi and the others had already been chatting about the script for a while, and the topic had even shifted to him. Xiangyi asked, "Anan, do you have someone you like?" Anan nodded vigorously. Yes. Si Chuanbai's gaze fell on him, staring at him without blinking. Then Anan said excitedly, "It has to be Diga." Si Chuanbai, ? This name sounded strangely familiar. Could it be that they both knew each other? Xiangyi hesitated for 2 seconds and asked uncertainly, "Are you talking about Ultraman Diga?" Yes. Diga is so handsome. Tyler, Ace, Leo, none of them can compare to Diga. In the words of the fandom, our brother Diga is the best. The other Ultraman brothers don't take cues and ride on his popularity. Si Chuanbai was speechless. For a moment he couldn't tell if he was happy or sad. Chapter 998. Si Chuanbai didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was dejected. Shi Sui and Xiangyi on the other hand were having a hard time trying to hold back their laughter. Judging from Anan's carefree attitude, Si Chuanbai would probably have a hard time in the future. Anan said a lot about Ultraman before he realized that something was wrong. He said embarrassedly, "Am I talking too much?" "No, you're not." Xiangyi tried to smooth things over. "I think your passionate feelings are similar to the feelings a female doctor has for a pastor." Shi Sui shook her head. "No, I think the pastor is the one who is passionate about the female doctor. He's just pretending." The two of them had different understandings of the script and different perspectives, so they started to discuss it. Si Chuanbai and Anan each expressed their own opinions and it was much smoother. The next day, at a church. The film crew had rented a church for the day, so they had already cleared the place. Shi Sui and Xiangyi came to the set after getting their hair and makeup done. Director Yen said, "I won't talk about the last scene because I think it will restrict you. You're free to act according to your own interpretation of the script." As soon as he finished speaking, there was an uproar. Director Yen, who had a very high control over the script, actually wanted the two of them to act by themselves. To be honest, it was difficult to write a composition with a topic, but sometimes, it was even more difficult to write a composition without a topic. Similarly, it was the same for acting. With the director talking about the script, it was equivalent to giving the actors a direction. On the other hand, it depended on the actor's own understanding and ability. Shi Sui and Xiangyi both expressed that they had no objections. "Then let's begin." Director Yen took a deep breath and the entire crew became nervous. The morning light shone on the glass windows of the church, giving them a faint layer of gold. The obedient-looking children were singing hymns against the light. Their tender voices sounded like angels descending. Pure white roses were everywhere in the church. Large patches of them symbolized the purest image, and a flower of sin bloomed in the most sacred place. The female doctor walked in. She quietly listened to the children singing. Unknowingly, a young man had appeared beside him. The priest's messy black hair was tied up with a rubber band and tucked to the back, revealing his clean and full forehead. His face was incomparably handsome, and his temperament was gentle and refined. However, he was the biggest villain in the drama. "Have you come to say goodbye to me?" he asked softly. With the sound of nature in the background, the female doctor replied, "I'm here to end it all." The priest was silent for a moment before he said, "Some things can't be stopped once they start." "Then, are you willing to stop for me?" After saying that, the female doctor laughed at herself. "Sorry, I said something strange again." The priest's eyes darkened, and he unconsciously tightened his grip on the white rose in his hand. The thorns pierced his fingertips and red blood dripped down, staining the petals. The sound of sirens came from afar. The priest's expression did not change. The female doctor said, "I was the one who called the police." The priest's voice was almost gentle. "Yes, I know." "Then, let's stop here." The female doctor stood up and the priest followed her back. His eyes were filled with infatuation, devotion, and madness. There was also deep affection. The female doctor looked at the camera, gently stroked her hair, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. A meaningful smile appeared on his face. All the crew members at the scene instantly had goosebumps. Even Director Yen had forgotten to shout, "Cut." Chapter 999. After a long time, it was only after Xiangyi's reminder that everyone regained their senses. "Director? Is it okay this time?" Xiangyi asked gently. The scene just now was the result of a conversation with Anan and Si Chuanbai last night. The female doctor was a little white flower in the flower of evil. But who could be sure that the little white flower was not a man-eating flower in disguise? That was why she smiled at the camera at the end. Director Yen came to his senses and said in a trembling voice, "Wait a minute, let me see the replay." The cameraman was trembling as he adjusted the equipment. He had not recovered from the shock just now. On the screen, every line of the priest and the female doctor was metaphorical and had a deeper meaning. But the real finishing touch was the female doctor's smile at the end. All of a sudden, the script of the entire movie was overturned. Just when the audience thought that the mystery had been solved, there was a huge reversal. Imagine it was already so shocking on set. If it was in a dark movie theater with a huge screen and post-production, how grand would it be? Director Yin did not say anything after watching the replay. Shi Sui said, "Why don't we do another scene? That way we can compare which scene is better." Director Yin was silent for a while and started smoking. He smoked a total of 6 cigarettes. The staff on set also anxiously waited for 6 cigarettes with him. In the end, Director Yin decided, "No need, we'll do this." The scene was silent for a few seconds before cheering. Everyone was looking forward to it. It was both the peak of their acting skills and the peak of the plot's reversal. Director Yen looked at everyone laughing and started laughing as well. He wasn't a young and inexperienced director. He couldn't be any clearer about how shocking the artistic effects of that scene were. Just as he was about to sigh, someone asked loudly, "Director, is our crew done filming?" "Yes, it's done. Everyone has worked hard. I'll give you a red packet later." Before Director Yen could finish his words, he heard everyone talking at once. Sistery, what are we eating?" "Hubby, I found a delicious milk tea. Do you want to try it?" "Darling, do you want to cook later?" "Mommy will cook for you. Our child's hands must be protected." Director Yen, ? Where? Was the attractiveness of a red packet not as important as a meal? Someone tugged at his sleeve. It was his silly son. He swallowed his saliva and urged him, "Dad, can you talk to Sistery later and give me an extra bowl of rice through the back door?" Director Yen. "Son, this is the first time you've ever begged your father for an extra bowl of food cooked by Sistery? Can you be a little more mature?" At the center of the crowd was a smiling girl. Her tone was gentle and harmless. "Our pets, Little Black, Little White and Little Flower, are all anemic, so we killed them all. We'll bring them over later for everyone's wrap party." In an instant, the sound of people swallowing their saliva rang out one after another. Even Director Yen sternly said, "Yenai, go and grab food for Dad later. If you can't get it, you'll recognize me as your father. If you can't get it, you can go hug Sister Yi's thigh and cry. Or you can take the bowl and beg for it. Do you understand?" "Yenai, ha." Rong Huai, who was at the side, burst into laughter. He immediately understood Director Yan's arrangement. "Son, go and bring your brother Rong along." "Rong Huai?" The scene was filled with cheers and laughter, and everyone was happy and harmonious. In the corner, Xiangyi and Shi Sui were holding hands. Shi Sui said softly, "I hope the story in the movie will never happen." Xiangyi looked out of the window, her slender figure bathed in the sunlight. "If it does happen, I hope that everyone in that story will make different choices and have a happy ending." The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They held each other's hands and interlocked their fingers. The movie segment ended. Next trailer, family segment. Good night. Chapter 1000. It had been a week since the filming of Night is Coming wrapped up. For many of the crew members, the memory of that night was still vivid in their minds. There was no other reason. It was because the anemic Little Black, Little White and Little White were roasted, braised and stir-fried. It was simply too delicious. Shi Sui had too many endorsements and jobs piled up, so she was busy dealing with work this week. As for Xiangyi, her happy vacation had already begun. At the Xiang family's old residence. Xiangyi wore cute strawberry scald-resistant gloves and opened the oven. A row of sweet and crispy egg tarts was emitting a fragrant aroma. The girl placed the egg tarts and cranberry pastries on a plate, brewed a pot of honey peach oolong tea, and brought it to the table in the courtyard. "Grandma, did Uncle really say he would bring Auntie back?" Xiangyi put down the wooden tray and looked out curiously. "I hope so. Even if she's not his girlfriend, it's fine to bring a female friend back. If that doesn't work, a male friend is fine too." Madame Xiang took a sip of tea. She looked calm, but in fact, her fingers were constantly twirling the prayer beads. Before she finished speaking, a familiar devilish laughter sounded from outside the fence. "Ha ha, Song Song, our pomegranates are ripe. I'll go up and pick them for you." A sweet voice sounded, "Don't, it's too dangerous." "It's fine, it's not dangerous, it's not dangerous. I'm really good at climbing trees. And super fast too," Xiang Feng said as he climbed up the tree in his suit jacket and leather shoes. After carefully picking out 2 large and red pomegranates, he shouted, "Song Song, take these." "Song Chio Chio?" In the courtyard, Xiangyi and Madame Xiang simultaneously thought of the same word, danger. Xiang Feng deliberately aimed at Song Chio Chio and threw the grenades. Bang! One of the pomegranates hit Song Chio Chio's head, while the other hit Song Chio Chio's chest. The impact was so great that Song Chio Chio sat on the ground in a sorry state. Xiangyi and Madame Xiang held their foreheads in unison. Xiang Feng, who was on the tree, hurriedly called out, "Song Song." Xiangyi put her hands together, praying that her little uncle could speak human language. Then she heard her little uncle speak the words of a universal steel man, "You're not dead. Song Chio Chio?" She slowly raised her head and met Xiang Feng's overjoyed face. "Song Song, you're still alive." Song Chio Chio told herself to endure it. She must endure it. She smiled. "Yes, you can come down." "Xiang Feng, no rush, I'll pick a few more for you. You're already here." Song Chio Chio felt like uprooting the pomegranate tree. Seeing this, Xiangyi hurriedly went out to greet him. "Sister Song, it's been a long time." Song Chio Chio had a baby face. Wearing a sweet pink cardigan and a white dress, she looked much younger than her actual age. Tutu. Song Chio Chio was surprised and happy. She gave Xiangyi a big hug, her eyes sparkling. "Can I pinch your face? Can I?" Xiangyi said helplessly, "Sister Song, I'm already 21 years old." The next second, her cheeks were pinched and both of them were pinched at the same time. "Xiangyi, oh, degree asterisk. Oh, at this moment, Xiang Feng's voice came from above. Little Xiangyi moved to the side. "Don't disturb our Song Song from picking pomegranates." Xiangyi looked up and saw that Xiang Feng had picked a bunch of pomegranates and was holding them in his suit jacket, smiling honestly. Xiangyi asked cautiously, "Sister Song, did you really come back with my little uncle willingly?" Chapter 1001. Song Chio Chio revealed a smile that was uglier than crying. Yes, right? If there was a word to describe her current mood, it would be regret. Too much regret. She was 28 years old this year. Her family was urging her to get married, so she had no choice but to think of a fake marriage. Of course, before they got married, they had to sign a contract. They would only be husband and wife in name. Xiang Feng and she were childhood friends. When they were young, they even bathed together naked and played with ducks. Song Chio Chio felt that Xiang Feng was the most suitable candidate for the fake marriage. When she proposed a fake marriage to Xiang Feng, she originally thought that Xiang Feng would hesitate. She didn't expect him to agree after only 1 second. 1 second. Song Chio Chio wondered if there was something wrong with his hearing. Now, Song Chio Chio didn't think so. She felt that there was something wrong with Xiang Feng. Rage points accumulated, 50%. Song Chio Chio smiled virtuously and sweetly. "Feng Feng, throw it. I'll catch it." Xiangyi persuaded, "Sister Song, let me do it. It's okay." She had chosen the fake marriage partner, so she had to accept it even if he had to kneel. "Come on." Song Chio Chio screamed as the pomegranate hit her arm. Xiangyi's mouth twitched. She desperately gestured to her little uncle. "You can throw it on the lawn. Don't throw it all at Sister Song." But Xiang Feng was a little short-sighted and he had climbed high. He misunderstood Xiangyi's waving hand as cheering for him. "Good. You're indeed my little niece. You're too loyal to your uncle." Xiang Feng's blood rushed to his head and he threw it faster and more accurately. "Song Song, you can do it. You have to challenge yourself and defeat yourself. This little difficulty in front of you is nothing. As long as you work hard, you can definitely catch the pomegranate." In the courtyard, Madame Xiang broke her prayer beads on the spot. What kind of thing did she give birth to? It was better to have a piece of barbecued pork. Song Chio Chio, a socialite's daughter, was smashed by a pomegranate for a long time. That scene made those who heard it sad and those who heard it cry. Finally, Song Chio Chio caught a pomegranate. Xiang Feng slid down the tree and applauded her happily. "Song Song, you did it. You really did it." Song Chio Chio put on a fake smile. "Feng Feng, let's play a game?" "What game?" Dido pomegranate." Under Xiang Feng's puzzled gaze, Song Qiuqiu swung his arm and threw the pomegranate in his hand. Clang. It hit him squarely in the face. Xiang Feng fell straight to the ground as if he was about to faint from the impact. Xiangyi, Madame Xiang. Song Qiuqiu straightened out her wrinkle-free dress and smiled sweetly. Oh, I'm sorry I was too strong. It's okay? Xiang Feng struggled to sit up. I just like our Song's strength, Song Qiuqiu. Shall we continue then? Xiang Feng, that's not necessary. Before he could finish his sentence, the second and third pomegranate cannonball came one after another, smashing Xiang Feng until he saw stars. Xiangyi was stunned. Could it be that both of them had 0 defense points and full attack points? A few minutes later, Song Qiuqiu held an exquisite porcelain cup and sipped tea, looking extremely elegant and dignified. Xiang Feng grimaced, his expression as if he was wearing a mask of pain. He said to Madame Xiang aggrievedly, Mom, it hurts. Madame Xiang pushed the dessert plate towards Song Qiuqiu and said with a smile, You deserve it. Chapter 1002. Xiang Feng? What? Wasn't he his mother's favorite child? Xiangyi hurriedly said, Sister Song, I remember that you like sweet things. I made these egg tarts and cranberry pastries myself. Try them. Song Qiuqiu maintained the elegance of a socialite. She picked up a small piece of cranberry pastry and took a small bite. The skin was golden and shiny, and the butter and egg yolk mixed together to create a crisp texture. The sweetness and sourness of the dried cranberries and the faint milky fragrance were perfectly blended together. Just by biting into such a small piece, she felt that it was soft and sticky, leaving a lingering fragrance in her mouth. Song Qiuqiu, oh whoa! Song Qiuqiu stopped pretending to be a lady. After taking big bites of 2 egg tarts and a few pieces of cranberry pastry, Song Qiuqiu's eyes were brimming with tears. It's so delicious. Our tutu's cooking is amazing. Xiangyi smiled. Eat more if you like it. Madame Xiang's eyes were kind. Song's appetite is still as good as when she was a child. Eee. She turned her head and met Xiang Feng's eyes. Song Qiuqiu said uncomfortably, Why do you keep looking at me? I eat very ugly. Xiang Feng, I don't know why, but when I see you eating, I think of a particularly beautiful scene. Song Qiuqiu, Xiangyi's sixth sense told her that her uncle probably wouldn't say anything good. The girl grabbed Xiang Feng's sleeve. Uncle, think about it, but it was too late. Xiang Feng said affectionately, Little Xiangyi, don't you have a lot of little piglets? Those little piglets eat pig food so happily. Song Qiuqiu took a deep breath. Song Qiuqiu began to roll up her sleeves. Auntie Tutu, I'm sorry, but I might show you some uncomfortable scenes. Xiangyi looked up at the sky. Grandma, look, that cloud looks like a leaf. Madame Xiang nodded. Yes, I can't see anything except the clouds. Xiang Feng raised his head to look. The sky was unbelievably blue, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that there were no clouds for thousands of miles. Where are the clouds? Just as he was mumbling, Song Qiuqiu pounced on him. She swiftly grabbed his ear and twisted it half a circle. Xiang Feng, it hurts, it hurts. Song was in pain. Let go. Like a little piglet, right? I think you're a pig. Is throwing pomegranates fun? I'm giving you face and you're taking advantage of it. Her voice was as sweet as ever. Song Qiuqiu didn't hesitate when she started. At first glance, it was obvious that she was a fake socialite's daughter and a real irritable girl. The entire courtyard was filled with Xiang Feng's wailing and howling, as well as Song Qiuqiu's profanities. After an unknown amount of time, Song Qiuqiu let go of his hand and said in a delicate and soft voice, Auntie Tutu, I need to use the bathroom. Xiangyi, Sister Song, I'll take you there. No need, no need. I know where it is. Xiang Feng watched her enter the villa, then straightened his back and bragged, with that little strength of hers, it's like a mosquito bite. It doesn't hurt at all. Xiangyi, Uncle, but you were screaming just now. Xiang Feng choked and flew into a rage out of humiliation. I was acting. Can't you see that? Madame Xiang took a sip of tea. I can see that you're afraid of Song. How can this be called being afraid? This is my respect for women as a man. Xiang Feng's words were powerful and resolute. Xiangyi exposed him. Hey, Sister Song, why are you back? Xiang Feng quickly hid under the table and covered his ears with his hands. His movements were so practiced, it made one's heart ache. Chapter 1003. Xiangyi couldn't help but burst into laughter. Xiang Feng waited for a long time, but he didn't hear any movement from Song Qiuqiu. He raised his head and scanned the room, only to realize that he had been deceived. Xiang Feng's dignity didn't allow him to embarrass himself in front of his little niece. He sprung up and exclaimed, "Little Xiangyi, how dare you bully uncle?" Hey, uncle." Xiangyi's reminder came too late. Xiang Feng stood up with the help of the exquisite little table, causing the things on the table to sway and fall to the ground. When Song Qiuqiu returned from the bathroom, he saw his favorite desserts and black tea falling all over the ground. Xiang Feng. Hence, Xiangyi and Madame Xiang began watching the clouds again. Although it was embarrassing to get beaten up, the fact that Xiang Feng had brought his girlfriend home greatly improved his status in the Xiang family. Xiang Yin and Madame Xiang were getting on in years, so they naturally wanted their children to have good families. Tutu didn't need to be urged, but the other little brats did. The Xiang brothers were all arranged to go on blind dates one after another. A few days later, the first to be arranged was Xiang Feng. At the finals of the autumn competition, Smog used a sniper rifle to determine the winner. The commentator's excited voice sounded at the scene. They won. Team Logic won. 5 kills with 1 shot. Sameogu is awesome. The applause, screams and cheers of the audience were so loud that the ceiling was about to be overturned. Everyone was shouting the same name, Smog. Xiang Feng's blind date, Xiaoxi, was no exception. She was an esports fan and her favorite team was Team Logic. She was initially disgusted by the blind dates arranged by her family, but after finding out that her blind date was Xiang Feng, Xiaoxi was delighted. She sent a message in the group chat, "Frowny face, I'm going to see Smog soon." Her boyfriends were envious and sour. Half an hour later, Xiaoxi took the pass given to her by Madame Xiang and arrived at Team Logic's esports base without any obstructions. The contestants were jesting and joking around. Xiaoxi plucked up her courage and asked, Is Smog around?" "Oh, you must be the girl who came here for the blind date with Sameogo." Captain Wander smiled mischievously and winked at the training room. "Sameogu is waiting for you inside." Xiaoxi's heart thumped as she knocked on the door. No one answered. She waited for more than 10 seconds before boldly turning the doorknob. In front of a high-end computer, a thin and slender young man sat with his legs bent. He wore black headphones and was staring intently at the screen. Was this a review? Smog was really motivated. As expected of the man who won the MVP award, when she took a closer look, Xiaoxi's expression froze. He was video chatting with Xiangyi. In the video, Xiangyi was reading a book while Xiao Naofu was lying on her lap, snoring in its sleep. Its little belly breathed in and out. It was soft and fluffy and squeaky. Xiaoxi patted her face and walked forward. "Smog, hello." She reached out to Xiangyu. Xiangyu looked up. His eyes were excessively good-looking and his skin was unbelievably good. He didn't look like an internet addict who stayed up all night. He took off his headphones and said in a cold voice, "Excuse me, you're blocking my view of my little baby." Xiaoxi. She laughed dryly and said, "Looks like you really like cats." "No, you're mistaken." Xiangyu said in all seriousness, "I prefer my keyboard and computer." Xiaoxi. Xiang Yi on the other end of the screen? Chapter 1004. Could it be that the trait of being a straight man runs in the family? Xiangyi was worried. In the training room, Xiaoxi laughed dryly and said, "Actually, I quite like keyboards too. I bought a lot of mechanical keyboards and all kinds of limited keycaps." Xiangyu nodded. Then that was it. Xiaoxi was speechless. Although she had no experience in blind dates, she had seen pigs run. Finding topics to talk about was a matter between the two of them. She couldn't be the only girl, could she? She braced herself and said, "Don't you have anything to say to me?" "I do." Xiangyu paused. "I think it's better not to talk about it." Xiaoxi said, "It's okay. Actually, it's my first time on a blind date and I don't have much experience." "I heard it's your first time too, so let's talk freely." Xiangyu hesitated. "Are you sure?" "Yeah, go ahead." Xiangyu said coldly with a poker face, "You have chili powder on your teeth." Xiaoxi was speechless. A few seconds later, she screamed and rushed out of the training room. On the screen, Xiangyi resisted the urge to dig her toes into the ground and reminded him, "Brother, can you not be so straight?" Xiangyu was puzzled. "Am I?" Xiangyi. "That's right, just treat her the same way you treat Xiao Naofu." In that case, Xiangyu might have a glimmer of hope of being single. However, Xiangyu refused without hesitation. "How can I do that? I can't betray our Xiao Naofu. It's my only baby. How can I betray my baby for a woman?" After a few seconds of silence, Xiangyi hung up the video call. "Do whatever you want." Smiley face. Seeing the screen go black, Xiang Yu clicked the mouse hard to confirm that the video call was hung up and not a problem with the internet. He was depressed. Did he do anything wrong? Why didn't she show him Xiao Naofu? Creak, the door of the training room opened and 5 heads poked in. Whoa! Xiang Yu turned his gaming chair and was shocked to see the row of heads. What are you guys doing? Wonder, that girl is crying. Are you sure you don't want to coax her? The other teammates all started talking at once. That's right, that's right. After all, she's a girl. Sameo-gu, you don't know how to be gentle with girls, do you? You're just trying to coax her. How can you treat your blind date like that? The little girl is so nice. She even ordered milk tea and cakes for each of us. Do you have the heart to do that? The tip of Xiang Yu's tongue pressed against the roof of his mouth unhappily. Alright, stop talking. I'll go take a look. With one hand in the pocket of his dark gray sweatpants, he went to the restaurant. Xiaoxi was sitting on an armchair in the corner, sobbing uncontrollably. Ahem. Xiang Yu cleared his throat to make his presence known. Xiaoxi's eyes lit up again. She thought she would hear some comforting words. Unexpectedly, Xiang Yu said directly, "Can you cry somewhere else? This sofa is Xiao Naofu's favorite. It usually sleeps on it for naps, so it's exclusive to it." Xiaoxi? Listen, is this even human language? And the pillow in your arms, it used to drink milk? Oh right, and you? Xiaoxi couldn't take it anymore and said angrily, "You don't like the console and keyboard at all. You obviously like Xiao Naofu. Go spend the rest of your life with your Xiao Naofu." Not only was Xiang Yu not angry, his eyes lit up. Such a good thing exists? Xiaoxi. Chapter 1005. Wonder sent me a message saying that Xiaoxi was so angry that she left in tears. Xiang Yu reported the results of Huxiang's blind date to her grandmother. Madame Xiang put on a new Buddhist bead bracelet and said calmly, "Next." Huxiang can't be that straight, right? At the studio, Xiang Qi was making a sample dress. Unlike the ready-made clothes, which were cut from a piece of fabric, he was now using pieces of paper to piece the dress together like a jigsaw puzzle. The assistants had tears in their eyes as they admired the ingenious and flawless design. It was so beautiful. Hades's inspiration was like a fountain that would never dry up. The highlight of an ordinary designer's career was usually just a few years or a series of designs. However, every single one of Hades's designs was always a highlight. They were full of surprises and surprises. The most amazing thing was that he didn't care about the outside world at all. While making the sample dress, he could divert his attention to call his sister. Blind date? Okay, I've already experienced it. Let's see if I can get any inspiration. When he hung up the phone, the last piece of paper was perfectly attached to the mannequin's body. The assistants looked at Xiang Qi's artwork with fanatical eyes. However, he shook his head. The design is too ugly. But the assistants? Everyone's heart was bleeding. How was such a perfect dress ugly? However, they knew that Hades could definitely come up with a better design. There was no reason for it. They just had confidence in him. Xiang Qi was casually modifying the design drawings. Before long, he heard a notification from his Bluetooth earpiece. He took out his cell phone and saw that his sister had sent him a business card and a long paragraph of detailed information. Huxiang, this sister is called Elena. She's a supermodel. She likes French food and hates frivolous perfume. Xiang Qi felt a headache coming on. He clicked to add her as a friend, chatted with her and asked her out for a meal. Everything went smoothly. This made Xiang Qi's ego swell. It turned out that finding a girlfriend was so easy. Seeing that his status in the family had risen, his sister cared a lot about him. She would cook 2 of his favorite dishes for every meal. Xiang Qi secretly swore in his heart. He, the Xiang clan's Qi, must become the second man in the Xiang clan to leave his single life. At night, at a certain French restaurant, the decor was elegant and exquisite. The pianist was playing soothing and melodious music. There was an exquisite white porcelain vase on each table. According to Elena's preference, the vase was decorated with white double-petaled fragrant snow orchids and green eucalyptus leaves. Xiang Qi had also chosen a steady, woody perfume for his perfume. He had chosen a simple, clean and pure-colored suit for his suit. His hair was casually tied back, giving him a designer's artistic aura. As expected, Elena was very satisfied with his first impression. The 2 of them talked about art, literature, fashion, movies, music. Because of their jobs, the 2 of them had a lot of common topics and shared similar values. Facing the devilishly handsome man in front of her, his peach blossom eyes were captivating when he smiled, and even the way his Adam's apple bobbed up and down when he drank water was exceptionally tempting. Elena was not a reserved girl. Once she liked someone, she would take the initiative. She winked at Xiangqi. Let's go for a drink? Sure. Half an hour later. Elena sat in a milk tea shop, holding a large cup of milk tea with pearls, taro balls and bobo. She gritted her teeth. This is called drinking one cup? Chapter 1006. What else? Xiangqi took a big sip of milk tea and gave her a thumbs up. That's right, this is the taste. Elena was speechless. She was a supermodel. How could she drink such a thing? Out of politeness, she took a small sip. Why don't we do something exciting, okay? Elena hinted again. Okay, I'll listen to you. Xiangqi drank the milk tea. I'll drink this cup. Elena smiled fakely. When they passed by a trash can, she quickly threw it in when Xiangqi wasn't paying attention. 10 minutes later. The car stopped. Elena touched up her makeup on the air cushion. She thought that they had arrived at the hotel, but unexpectedly, the car stopped beside a small alley. Looking at the dark alley, Elena gritted her teeth. Although the environment was a little harsh, it was hard to meet a man as good as Hades. Thus, she gritted her teeth and got out of the car. In the dark, Elena took off her coat and said in a charming voice, "Let's start. What's the hurry? We're not there yet. Hey, why are you taking off your clothes? That's not very good. There are still 8 people later." Elena was about to vomit blood. You actually called 8 people? Are you a man? She was going to post. She was going to expose Hades, this shameless person. Elena typed indignantly. Just as she was about to send the post, she heard Xiangqi say matter-of-factly, "Don't you want something exciting? It's definitely more fun with more people in that escape room." Xiangqi pushed open a door with ease. The dim yellow light illuminated 2 lines of large words. The most fun escape room in South City. Real people cosplay. It's free if it's not exciting. Elena was speechless. Elena changed her clothes and entered the secret room in fear. Fortunately, she was in the same room as Xiangqi. The room was luxuriously decorated. The lights were ambiguous and hazy. On the large carved bed, there was a wine-red silk quilt. Elena's fingers gently slid across Xiangqi's back. Her breath smelled like orchids. "Hades, don't you think this is very suitable for kissing?" Xiangqi pushed her away righteously and scolded her bitterly. "Is this the attitude you're using when you're playing escape room? Where's your basic respect for this game? God, I didn't expect you to be like this, Elena." Elena? *CK, I'm not playing anymore. She was so angry that she sat on the bed and watched as Xiangqi jumped up and down to look for clues. He even climbed up the ceiling vent to study it, but he didn't even look at her. Suddenly Xiangqi stopped. Elena thought that he was finally going to talk to her, so she secretly pulled down the straps of her dress. However, Xiangqi actually sat on the ground, picked up a small sketchbook that he always carried with him and started to draw designs. He was even shouting. "This gender-neutral detective outfit will definitely suit little sister. No, how can one be enough? I want 10 sets. Elena smiled. Elena deleted Xiangqi from her friend list. The next day in the courtyard. "Grandma, third brother is also." Xiangqi sighed. She didn't need to say anything. Madame Xiang changed the string of prayer beads in her hand again, but her expression was very calm. "So okay, next. Lily has been a good child since she was young. She never made us worry." Xiangqi said, "Second brother should be different from them, right? After all, second brother was a genius." At the research institute. Blind date? Xiangli adjusted his glasses and smiled gently. "Sure, Tutu." Chapter 1007. Xiangyi was very surprised by Hua Tingrue's cooperation. Madame Xiang was also very pleased. Maybe Lily can find her other half through the blind date. Of course, even if she doesn't fall in love, it's good to make more friends. Xiangyi was also looking forward to it. Xiang Li's blind date was a big deal for the research institute. The research institute reported it to the higher-ups and won him a precious half-day off. His colleagues in the laboratory also cheered him on. "Dr. Xiang, bring us a sister-in-law." Regardless of whether it was teasing or encouraging, Xiang Li smiled and nodded. His temper was unbelievably good. The next day the sun was warm and the wind was gentle. Xiang Li changed into a simple white cotton linen shirt and khaki trousers. It was a very comfortable outfit. According to the appointed time, he arrived at the cafe half an hour early. The bodyguards sent by the state to protect him were either out in the open or in the dark, guarding the cafe. Xiang Li ordered a caramel macchiato for himself. He had always liked all sweets. Being fond of sweets was probably part of the Xiang family's genes. He drank 2 cups of coffee before his blind date arrived. Xiang Li lowered his head and glanced at his watch without batting an eyelid. He was 15 minutes late. She didn't apologize and introduced herself in a businesslike manner. Hello, I'm Chao Xing. I'm 26 years old. I graduated with a master's degree when I was 19 and obtained a doctorate in biology abroad when I was 21. Xiang Li listened casually. 19 years old? What was he doing back then? He seemed to have been a visiting professor at one of the top universities in the world. Dr. Xiang? Dr. Xiang? The other person's shout pulled Xiang Li back from his distant thoughts. Xiang Li bowed and said, Sorry, I got distracted. Chao Xing said, Although I'm not very satisfied with you, I think we can get married. I think we can use a week to get to know each other, 3 months to fall in love, 6 months to get married, and a year to have children. This way it won't delay our research plans. Xiang Li couldn't help but laugh. Miss Chao's plan is very good. Chao Xing said confidently, I think this is a very scientific and efficient arrangement. Xiang Li took a sip of coffee and faintly said, But Einstein said that science is about the research of the laws of facts. Before we have a test sample, I don't think Miss Chao's proposal is the best solution. So, Dr. Xiang is not satisfied with me? Chao Xing raised her eyebrows. It's okay. I've seen many men like you. I fully understand and respect your thoughts. Xiang Li smiled. Einstein also said that there are two things that are endless, the vast universe and the ignorance of mankind. But I can only be sure of the latter. Chao Xing's expression changed slightly. I'm very confident in my IQ. Miss Chao's confidence is indeed admirable. I only feel your sarcasm. I also don't feel any respect for Miss Chao. The two of them went back and forth tit for tat. Chao Xing's eyes became brighter and brighter. Xiang Li became more and more disinterested. Was this a blind date? Boring. Why should humans waste the rest of their lives on other humans? Dating? He might as well dissect a few cages of rabbits. As expected, the blind date ended in failure. Xiang Li leisurely sent a WeChat message to his sister. Do I seem to be really unpopular CAC? Aggrieved? JPG, tearful. JPG, pitiful. JPG. Chapter 1008. Xiangyi's reply came quickly. How could that be? Did someone bully brother? She then sent a bunch of emojis of her rolling up her sleeves and stomping her feet angrily. Xiang Li smirked. Indeed, it's more fun to tease Tutu. Woman? Sorry, no need for that. A certain medical doctor who cut black and white but found that it was still black, used the spring and autumn annals to describe today's blind date. When Xiangyi found out that her second brother had been disliked, she hurriedly coaxed him for a long time and showered him with all sorts of praises. She even promised to cook a lot of delicious food for him. Only then did Xiang Li, aggrieved and pitiful, express that he didn't feel so bad anymore. Grandma, this is what happened. The same scene repeated itself in the courtyard one afternoon. Madame Xiang sighed and said, forget it. Instead of finding someone who doesn't get along with me, I might as well be single. But Qinshan and Xiaowan have known each other for a long time, right? Xiangyi recalled for a while and said, I think so. She had heard from Nan that Xiaowan was a fan of hers. Xiaowan was good at writing and retouching photos, and had helped the fan club a lot. Madame Xiang twirled her Buddhist prayer beads. Of course she had changed them again. She smiled benevolently and said, You can't do the same thing more than 3 times. It should work this time, right? Xiangyi had an ominous feeling. Lawyer Xiang, this is your itinerary for the next week. Also, you have a meeting with the CEO of Dingfeng Technology in half an hour. The assistant reminded Sangchen concisely. He sat in front of the walnut table with his hair combed back, looking like a meticulous elite. He was dressed in a black suit and a white shirt. His well-defined fingers were casually flipping through the judgment papers. His aura was cold and indifferent, just like the cedar trees on the distant mountains. After the assistant finished reporting, he expressed assent and asked, Do you have any other arrangements? If not, he was going to go home and have dinner with his little bunny. The assistant said fearfully, Actually, old madam and Missy want you to invite Miss Xiaowan to dinner to get to know each other better. Sangchen's fingers paused for a moment. He raised his head, his eyes deep and calm. Who is Xiaowan? The assistant was speechless for a moment before saying, You're talking about the guardian of the best Xiangyi in the world on Weibo. Previously you even helped her friend fight a lawsuit. Sangchen nodded slightly. So it's her. Every time Guardian finished editing a picture or made a promotional poster or sticker pack about Xiangyi, it would send him a copy immediately. Sangchen had even set her as a special notification so that he could receive a picture of the bunny as soon as possible. The assistant, then did you agree? Lawyer Xiang actually agreed to a blind date? Sangchen, on the other hand, thought that it was just a meal. Coincidentally, he saw Xiao Wan's Weibo update. She posted a set of 9 photos, each of which depicted Xiangyi as beautiful as a painting. The caption accompanying the post was, "I still have a lot of stock, I have to work hard today too. Let's go." Sangchen liked the post and then sent her a message to invite her. Soon, Sangchen said without even looking up, "Help me book a quiet restaurant." The assistant was extremely excited. Okay. I'll go right away. I didn't expect the 1,000-year-old sago tree to blossom one day. I must choose a hotel that has 5 stars in all aspects. It was 7 o'clock in the evening. Sangchen and Xiao Wan took a seat in the restaurant. Xiao Wan recalled what her roommate teased her before she left. "Lawyer Xiang, are you interested in you?" She asked nervously. "Lawyer Xiang, is there something you need from me?"